Dune Sea, a show all about Andor, Star Wars, that galaxy far, far away and beyond. My name is Konnor.
And I'm Seth.
How we doing, guys? How are we doing? We just had, some would argue, peak Star Wars this week.
Some would say.
Some would say, is anybody surprised? Look at this, look at this, look at this. Oh my goodness. I see all you guys in the chat. Appreciate you all being here. I see Matthew Green. I see Duel the Kate, Sergio Vandrala. And I have strategically placed something in my way where I can't see the chat. So how about that? Thank you, Seth. Thank you. I see Matty Ice. I see HT Verlag. Thank you guys for being here. How are we doing? So Seth, we got Andor. We finally the Gorman massacre. We see what all of this has been building to. And my goodness, what an explosive payoff we have, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was something.
It was something.
Yes.
Well, you know what I'm going to ask you. 1 minute review.
1 minute
Hit
review. Me. Wow. So I'm starting off, huh? All right. Well, okay. So this was really, really well done television. Like, we're talking, like, this is just very well done. Like, everything from the music to the editing to the pacing to just even the shot composition. But I am not sure if this felt very Star Wars to me. Yes, there is some Star Wars iconography. There was some Star Wars iconography throughout this, but still, I'm not 100% sure if this was really like scratching that Star Wars itch for me, if that makes sense. Again, really, really, really well done, but really interesting when you start like looking at it compared to other sad moments in Star Wars.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So we're still knocking on this door, Seth, huh? About how good show, but not good Star Wars show.
Yeah.
Where's your character arc? That's what I want to know.
I don't know, man. I mean, maybe that'll be the next season of Beyond the Dune Sea. Is I'll get a solo arc.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, my 1 minute. I think I'm finally a believer in this show.
Yeah.
I knew that this would be good just given how well they've built it up this season, but now I'm really seeing, especially with a character like Dedra, especially with a character like Sirill and Cassian, who I've been open about this on the show. I didn't think that he was that great in season 1. I'm now seeing how like, oh my gosh, this is from the first moment of the show. We've been building to this moment. And like, this could have been the finale of the season, of the show, in my opinion. That makes me very curious for what we're going to see next week, which we'll get into that later. But yeah, this was expertly crafted, expertly done. I have like very minor gripes, mostly just for fun, just because you got to complain about something, right?
True.
Come on, it wouldn't be.
It's very true.
But no, seriously, the tension building is excellent. The pacing is excellent. The performances, my goodness, some of the best I've ever seen. Like, not just, I think that I got to stop even saying in Star Wars, it's like, this is up there with some of the best TV, some of the best cinematic experiences I've ever had as a viewer, just watching this all unfold. And like, I can almost see the team behind the camera just being like, just wait. And then now that it's here, it's like, see, I told you, just wait.
Cinema.
I mean, cinema. It really was, you know, and just
parts of it were. I mean, that shot where like everything's all quiet and Sirill's just looking around.
Yeah.
Then you could see that K2 droid like choke slamming that person in the background, where it's just like, wow, like this is powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I had a lot of moments this run. I planned on, when I started it, I planned on only watching one episode. I was like, I'll watch one tonight, write my notes, and then get on the next one. I was up because I didn't get to start watching it till like 11 o'clock. And I watched all 3. I was glued to it. I couldn't help it.
I chose sleep.
Yeah, I didn't. And I paid for it the next day. But there were many moments I had where I was like, wow, okay, we're going there. Got it. Wow, they're going there. Okay, got it. And like last week, none of it was unpredictable. Like, it was all very predictable. Yeah. I mean, it's like you knew everything that was going to happen, but it's just how it unfolded, except for one moment, I think, with the stuff with Sirill. I thought that was pretty unexpected to see where that went.
Yeah.
But just amazed me how this web was weaved. And it all had a payoff.
Like a Gorman spider.
Like a Gorman spider.
Yeah.
And the thing about Gorman, it's not just about the spiders.
No, it is not.
Fruity Krennic is best Krennic. So that's kind of, I guess my 1 minute is that this was great. I started to really appreciate the previous arcs, even back in season 1, seeing how it all leads to this. And there is a particular moment in this arc that I'm very excited to talk about, because I think it, like, even though this show's not about space wizards, it somehow was able to work in faith in such a real and tangible way. It took all the grounded stuff they're doing with everything else in this show, and it's like, what if we applied that to the Force? And boy, did I love that. And I can't wait. I can't wait to talk about it, because I know in just our discussions, you didn't feel the same way about that.
I don't like the connotations. It's not that I didn't like the interaction.
Gotcha.
And I'll explain more later, because people are probably just like, what's this guy even like?
Hey, I think the same thing sometimes, guys. So I'm with you.
Yeah.
So there you go. A little long-winded, but hey, it's me. What do you expect? 1 minute review. There you go. Right. So Cole Callan's saying, Konnor, only now at the end do you understand. And true.
Yeah.
True.
Can they see that? I don't mean to be calling that out. He didn't pop up.
Thank you.
There we go. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's a great sequel to the Narkina 5 arc. Interesting. Yeah. Sirill's arc carries really well in this.
All of it.
Up to
the whole show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, I think, the most satisfying of the payoffs, in my opinion, was seeing Sirill really pay off in ways that I was like, you all know, it's the who are you moment. Like, oh my gosh, that's where this was all going. And it's so heartbreaking. Yeah. And you see it all on his face. Gosh.
It's very, it reminds me Thanos and Wanda in Endgame. Yeah, you took everything from me. I don't even know who you are. Yeah. Yeah, it's just the heartbreak. Yeah. Yeah. Really well done. I see David here saying these episodes were the most perfectly cooked pizza rolls a person can have. Hey, you know what? Oven air fried really depended on your flavor of the day, but they definitely weren't in the microwave. I'll tell you that much. This is true. Really, really solid stuff. So the first thing I want to just get your take, because I mentioned, like, I'm a believer of this now. Yeah, I know that you're not sitting as much on my side of the fence. And so I guess is like, I've always said, at least, we rather, like, Star Wars is a tentpole story. You know what I mean? It's a fable. It's meant to provide a foundation for morality, like any fable and like any campfire story. And that's why it's, you look at the original trilogy, you look at the prequels, it's very black and white in a lot of ways. It's like, here's the good guys, the good guys have blue, the bad guys have red. And that's great. You need those stories. There are many fables just like that help inform our morality, really, for people of any age, not just children, but anybody, and that way later on, you remember, once you're developing your moral formation, you're like, that's like Luke Skywalker. Yeah. But that's like Darth Vader. That's like Palpatine, and there's some great stories to be learned from that, right? Learning tools. That's what I kind of see the Star Wars films and other select pieces of fiction. Yeah. And I agree. I would say, I guess, now that I'm finally like coming around to this idea, because I've been like you, like, this is HBO with cosplaying a Star Wars, great, but not my flavor of the day. Yeah. But I would say it's like the fable side of Star Wars provides that foundation, but this, I think, really decides to build on it in ways that's really interesting to me. Like, there's some of my own beliefs, maybe my not so much my religious beliefs per se, although this episode did have great connotation to faith. I again, we'll get into that. But obviously it's asking a lot of political questions and things like that. And we all have our own political opinions. And it's interesting with this show. It's like, building up that moral foundation where it's like, I don't agree morally with that per se, what the show is trying to tell me, but I can really appreciate what it's trying to do. It's asking questions and it's making you really have to sit and think about them. And so there have been moments where I'm like, wow, I'm really thinking about what I believe. Like, I know what he's trying to do here with the real world. Like, and I have my own thoughts about that. It's like, does this
what does this change my mind or does it not? Does it reinforce? Like, and there are many moments in here of that, you know, and in surprising ways, because I don't think the show is one note. Like it's not just trying to be here, you know, on this side of the aisle or here on this side of the aisle. It's I think telling a lot of really great gradations. I heard Tony Gilroy in an interview say some really interesting things about how he just wanted to tell a complete story about Revolution, and pulling from all of these different stories, you know, across history. And so I get a little frustrated when I look online. It's like people are nailing down like, this is about just this. It's like, well, maybe, but it's also about all of this too. Yeah. You know, it's pulling a lot of different stories. And I guess what I'm getting at ultimately is that I think this show really makes you ask yourself the question. It's like, from the rest of Star Wars, or maybe just your own life, did you build that foundation out of stone? Or did you build it out of sand, and is it all going to come crumbling down? And I appreciate that. This is grown up Star Wars. You know what I mean? And so when I started to really look at it through that lens, you know, I appreciate it more and more, because I'm really, like I said, I'm asking questions. Like they'll show something. And of course, from the story, I'm loving the presentation. I'm loving how that's written and all of that stuff. And I'm like, wow, this is great. But then there's the underlying subtext where I'm like, okay, what's it trying to tell me here? Do I agree with that? Yeah. And I like that it's making me go through the thought process. You know, it's like I make at the end of it, you know, say like, no, I don't agree with that, but I appreciate that you made me think about it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
No, I understand, because like the whole, I mean, it's the same process. I mean, Star Wars, at least to me, ever since even when I was little, it made me think. It wasn't just like wizards in space. I could always see that subtext. And I see the subtext as well with Andor. But I think also it is kind of a blueprint to just show that, like, how showing in history, because let's be honest, I think the history class is just okay here in the States. I think that this is showing, like, this is how revolutions do go down. This is how, so maybe you don't have the time or the want to go research how these things actually went down, but he's showing us in a fun way, I get, for lack of a better term.
Entertainment.
Entertainment, or something that gives us entertainment value, but also showing us that how these events tend to go down, if that makes sense.
I feel like, as an aside, I'm always in the minority on this, because I hear some of my other friends will say the same thing, where they're like, I didn't have the public education in the U.S. I'm like, I think I'm just in the minority. My history teachers were great.
No,
gosh, we learned so much.
Okay. Listen. All right. My history teachers were good too, but I don't know about every single revolution.
Well, no, of course, you got only so much. But what I mean is like
World War I. Yeah, I know how that all started and everything like that, but I don't remember like the exact details with things. So it is nice.
Archduke Ferdinand.
Yes.
Don't know any of that.
No, I do know about that. I know how everybody was all in a treaty together with each other, and then all it takes is one string is pulled, and since everybody's all united against each other, then everything just all fell apart. But
I'm just messing with you. Because I hear that sometimes where it's like, we weren't taught that. I'm like, I was taught that. I don't know. Was I just interesting? You know?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm not saying that. I just feel like that. It was like one day in class.
Gotcha.
Talking about like the talking about a revolution.
Dang. But one day, huh?
One day. Yeah.
I think that this is correct here from Kate, and I think this is important because he said I read someone online say Tony Gilroy isn't pulling from newspaper headlines, he's pulling from history books, and that's absolutely true. It's like it's so easy to tie it to something here and now, but you also got to remember this stuff was written several years ago.
It's true.
You know, and like I'm not saying he's not making any social commentary on today. Of course, I'm sure there is some, and you can agree with that or disagree with it. But I guess my ultimate point that I'm making with this section is that I hope that regardless of where you fall on the political spectrum, you can ask yourself like this. You allow yourself to be asked questions by this show.
Yeah.
And that's what all good art should do, I think. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't care if I watch something and it's like, it's completely polar opposite of what I believe. You know, I don't care about that. I want it to tell a good story. That's what I want. Yeah. And there are many that unfortunately deviate from that, and they're only there to try to, you know, preach or pander and those things. And that's annoying. And I don't think that Andor is doing that at all. Mm. And that's what I like about it, I guess is what I'm getting at. So, but yeah, it's just, we've always said on the show about like moral formations and how Star Wars is really a great sort of entry point to that. There's also deep concepts there too, but it's great just as you can watch it and just enjoy the bad guys and the good guys swinging light sticks at each other. But when hopefully it provides even subconsciously that moral formation. I think Andor is the step up.
It's true.
Like, how do those fans who watched the OT as kids, like, okay, let's build on those building blocks.
It's true, because we've said it 1,000 times that, like, in the OT, it is, and in the prequels, it is very black and white. And then this is very gray, that this is someone who has decided that, we'll do the analogy that someone has, someone's been going to church, but now someone's decided that they're going to really start trying to go or read the Bible.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. That we'll do that analogy.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, I think that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Checking in with some of you guys there. What do we got? History is written by the victor. Indeed, right? There is some of that too.
There is true. I was going to say, especially those history books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did Cassian even see Sirill's face back in the first season? I think maybe, but I don't think that's the point. I think the point is, like, he forgot him. This was just a moment in Cassian's life, whereas, like, that moment defined Sirill's life. So I don't think it makes a difference.
He kind of saw the side of his face.
There we go. It's like my app here is not working.
Uh-oh.
I got it though. Don't worry about it. It's why Clone Wars is so good. You get those Jedi stories, but then you get episodes like Fives and Bar and Ahsoka. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true.
Mm-hmm.
Clone Wars is doing very similar things, right? Beyond the Dune Sea is now a history podcast. I do love history, and there are things I wouldn't say knowledgeable, super knowledgeable out, but I'm definitely not an expert on anything in history. So don't come here looking for good historical
your favorite
text.
thing?
What's my favorite like historical event?
Yeah, like what's something that you like kind of nerd out on?
I mean, I know it's the meme, but I do love the Roman Empire. That's great.
What is Konnor's Roman Empire?
My Roman Empire specifically?
Yeah, do you have a Roman Empire?
I mean, I do love the first century.
Yeah.
And specifically around, like, what's going on geopolitically with how it intersects biblically. I think that's really fascinating. Like, cause, so I've been to Jerusalem, and in Jerusalem, there is a history museum there, and there is a scale model of what Jerusalem looked like in, I think it's like 88 AD, 80 AD, something like that. And it's really interesting because when you look at that, you can actually see historically where biblical events took place, why they took place in the places that they did. And it's extremely tangible. Like, I walked through those streets, I saw it. And so, like, for example, there's now you got me on this massive tangent. I don't know who's going to care about this, but there's debate amongst where the crucifixion took place historically. And it has to be one of two places in Jerusalem. There's the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which is typically where the Catholics believe that this happened. There's also the Garden Tomb, which is where a lot of Protestants do. And that really comes down to aesthetics at the end of the day, not so much history. Like, Protestants typically like the more like, okay, there's a garden and all this stuff. Whereas the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is like very ornate. It's a cathedral. Anyway, what I'm getting at is historically, it had to have taken place outside the city walls. Yeah. But those are inside this, even the historical city walls today. That's because around like 50 AD, the walls were expanded in Jerusalem. And so you have to take that into account. Yeah. And so you can actually see, I don't know, I find that all very fascinating. Like when the Jews had to go to Masad, which is it's the mountain, where they all, like, the Roman conquest led to, it's just like, I went there, I saw that fortress, what they had to do, like, and you can actually, even from the top of that fortress, look down and still see the outlines of the Roman encampments to this day. And they're very visible. Yeah. Like, this is where those encampments were. So that's probably one of the areas of history that I think is really interesting. It's like how geopolitically the faith exploded because of where, like, the whole world essentially was speaking one language. They were, like, under the Roman Empire. It's really interesting. Gotcha. There you go. That you got me on. See what you did. Supposed to be talking about Andor.
They seem to be liking it.
Yeah. So hopefully I didn't get all you guys off there.
Gotcha. But
yeah. So that's that's. How do we get on this? Why are we talking about history? Oh, because someone said this is a history podcast. I was like, well, how did this happen? Yeah. Wasn't it on Golgotha? Yes, but there's debate as to where Golgotha actually was. But that is the name, yes, of the mountain, which is the face of the skull. Yes. Which interestingly enough, like the Garden Tomb, the side of that mountain does in fact look like a skull. Saw it with my own two eyes, I can tell you that. The one in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre has just been built on so much that it doesn't really resemble it anymore. But yeah, so there you go. There's didn't expect that today, but you got it, huh?
There you go.
Let's dive back into Star Wars and the most Star Warsy part of this arc in Andor. Yavin, which is where this opens up, huh? Which is pretty cool.
That felt good.
I thought they did a great job with this.
Yes.
The iconography was terrific. Seeing the orange jumpsuits, like the X-Wings, all that stuff is just really cool. So General Draven.
Yes.
I
was going to say, we get some, we even get some U-Wing action, which is nice. And Rogue One may not be my favorite, but I really do like that ship.
Yeah. I thought this was great. A great way to introduce this arc, showing that like the bungalows. I know you really liked those.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh, dude. Ask another question. I could ask the chat this too, that if you could live anywhere in Star Wars, where would you want to live? Like, this is now like top 3 for me, is like hanging out in one of those little Yavin 4 little bungalows.
It was great.
I think those are cool.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
How the trees were like growing through their apartments and stuff like that. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah. I thought we got a great opportunity here to look at just what life is like on Yavin for these people. That was really interesting. Seeing where Cassian and Bix are at this point, like they've been doing missions. And perhaps most interestingly that we learn here is about Luthen, or rather what we don't know about Luthen.
The lack of Luthen.
Yeah, right. Did you find that odd? That we don't see him that much in this part.
Well, I mean, is he really needed anymore? I mean, the alliance has pretty much been formed up through Ahsoka. We kind of learned that through Rebels, is that she's kind of linking all these people and getting them all coordinated and stuff like that. So, is there really a need for Axis, right? Is there a need for Axis anymore? Yeah,
I guess Axis, Luthen is the spark, but the fire's going now. It's like, do you really need a spark anymore?
Yeah. And he's got to pass it off. He's only one guy.
Exactly. So and we saw in the last arc, he's starting to get overwhelmed. So I'm interested to see where his story wraps up. Probably the most out of everybody. I'm like, where does this go?
He gonna die.
Yeah. I mean, I think that he's definitely got the biggest target.
Yes,
for sure. But I wonder if now he's going to go because he becomes too much like Saw, goes out in a blaze of glory or something like that.
Or like the Rebels decide to try to like put him out to pasture, where it's like, we don't need you anymore, Grandpa. Yeah.
Man, what if Cassian does that? Takes him out behind the barn.
Yeah.
Behind the temple.
Yeah, basically. Where it's like, we don't need you anymore. Yeah.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Here, hold on. I'm dying. Oh my gosh. Okay. Cut back to Seth.
Do you need some water?
Sorry. My goodness. I don't know where that came from. Just like all of a sudden. Oh. Yeah. All right. So Luthen, he's
choking you
up. Yeah. Darth Vader's on the other end. Is like, you better knock this off.
It's either that or you're like Dedra. You just can't breathe because you have all these crazy decisions.
Yeah, right. Here, some of these guys say Pabu would be on my short list. That'd be fun.
Pabu would be nice.
Ferrix would be cool if the Empire wasn't there.
Yeah.
Naboo. Honestly, Naboo.
Yeah.
That's mine.
Yeah.
Out of everywhere I've traveled in my life, Italy has been my favorite. And
you tried real garlic bread.
Dude, real talk. That's like there's a method that they teach you. It's like you got to rub the garlic on the bread. You take the olive oil, you put it, you have to do this like weird, like that's how you taste olive oil. I'll be darned if it don't work. Like it doesn't change the.
I want to go to Italy and I want to experience this with you. Yeah, I'll be real.
It's good stuff. We actually just finished off not long ago our last of our olive oil we got from there.
Yeah,
because my wife was like, we can't ever use this. I'm like, if we don't ever use it, we're never going to use it. Let's eat it.
It's true.
Yeah,
might as well. Some. Did you make some garlic bread?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I mean, I don't know what else you'd use it for. So
yeah, as a Italian resident, yes.
Yeah,
dude, so good. I loved my visit there. It was awesome. Such a beautiful country. I could go on and on about that, but
Italy, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I mean, like,
Mechanized says, I wonder if Luthen is related to Galen or Lyra Urso. They both had those crystals, and everything so far points to someone like Bod Rook being planted by Luthen who has ties to Galen. A lot to unpack there. That's interesting. The thing about Bodhi is really interesting. Yeah. That he has some tied to Luthen. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I would be surprised if there's relation to Galen Urso.
Yeah.
But
maybe like Bodhi's the last thing Luthen does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before going out in a blaze of glory.
So we got the just, gushing about Yavin out of the way. I just want to talk about that because, gosh, it was cool to see it.
Some nice Star Wars iconography.
It's
like, hey, I know this. Hey, that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Gotta love them Sith temples.
It's great. Is that what they were? Sith temples?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's in Legends, that's what houses Exar Kun's spirit.
Well, look at that.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we'll see that next week.
Probably not, but you never know.
So I want to jump from that to some of the heavy stuff because there is so much to say. I thought we'd get the fun stuff out of the way first.
Yeah.
There is so much to say about this. And what a powerful shot, too, of Cassian. So the way that this was handled, I knew it would be good. I had a lot of faith in the team on how they would handle it. I'm surprised in some of the directions we went in terms of like Dedra and Sirill getting their own face turns in a way.
Yeah.
It's not like they both were like, yeah, forget this. We're joining the rebellion. But they did have their own, like, I just like that we show layers, It's like people, not everybody's a Palpatine where they're just wicked to their core.
Yeah.
This really shook Dedra, and I liked seeing that. This really shook Sirill, and I really liked seeing that. And the gore themselves, man, that one of the most powerful shots in this entire thing is after they start to sing, and you have some of the main guy, the dwarf from last week, that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Him and a couple of the other characters were kind of all arm in arm. Yeah. And the one guy's just crying, just tears streaming down his face. And I'm like, wow, this is something, because we know that the rebels have weapons. We know that the Empire is going to do something.
Yes.
And the payoff also of in the beginning of the first episode, or toward the beginning of the first episode, when you see the young recruits coming in, of like the riot troopers, basically. Yeah. And even Dedra makes a point, like they're children. Like the payoff of that, of like, oh, that's why they're children, so that they will react impulsively when the fight breaks out.
Inexperience, and they're just going to listen.
Yeah.
Yep. They won't question what's happening.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Really, really incredible stuff. And there's so much, like the way this team was able to make everything come together. Really the only character that doesn't come to this point is Luthen.
Yeah.
I mean, every other character, every other arc weaves right to this moment. And that, gosh.
But this is what Luthen wanted the whole time.
Yes. And so he's lingering for sure. He's a shadow over this.
He doesn't need to be. Yeah. But he's smiling.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately what he wants.
And that's dark stuff too.
It is.
I just cannot gush enough. And I'm almost having trouble finding the words, like how truly real this all felt.
Because, I mean, dude, like it's all very human. It's so human. Like there's nothing that really, I mean, up until the point that I feel like you see the stormtroopers, it doesn't really look like a Star Wars show. Like really, I mean, like, cause it's so grounded in reality. I mean, you've got people singing, and then you've got that like crazy Hans Zimmer score that's going on in the background. That's like, that's just slowly building that tension. Yeah. And with the chanting and the, oh my gosh, like, and I mean, with the stormtroopers, it does then pull you back into that galaxy far, far away. But I mean, like, you squint, it looks like, it's just well,
I mean, I know we talk a lot in the show about Star Wars DNA, but like in moments like this, it's not so much that something has to throw a stormtrooper in my face or a TIE fighter in my face or something like that. It's just, I guess what I mean more by that is like, I don't want it to do something that actively detracts.
Yeah.
For example, a small thing. And I know because I saw it on your notes, so I'm sorry for stealing your fire here.
You're
but
fine.
The Molotov cocktails.
Yeah, that's stupid.
It's like I wish those were thermal detonators.
Something.
You know what I mean? Just a little bit.
Or
Right.
maybe some Star Warsified a little bit.
Yeah.
A little. But
Yeah.
like, come on, guys. I get it that
Yeah.
like there'd be explosions in any universe. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? You're going to be able to do that. But like, it looks too much. Like,
I do wish they would have just a little bit. Like for how well done this show is on every other front. It's weird to me that they got lazy with that.
yeah. Well, it's like the
You know what I mean?
screens you were talking about. Can't get away from the screens.
Yeah. No holograms.
No holograms.
Yeah. It is odd.
It's just an odd choice.
Yeah.
Where it's like, guys, we can work around this.
Yeah.
We can
Yeah.
easily work around that. In fact, we see that the hotel guy has a thermite grenade.
Yeah.
That is, Death Troopers use those.
It's odd to me only because it's like, then why tell this in Star Wars? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's really just ultimately where I come with my question. Now, I don't think it's crazy, you know, or anything. There's just a couple things that I'm like, okay, why didn't we? There's a Star Wars thing for that. You know, why are we not? Okay.
Just doing it.
Yeah.
But I'm right there. I mean,
Yeah.
that's constantly what I'm asking myself every week, or I'm just kind of like,
Yeah. No, I get you. It is a couple, like there are moments, like I said, with the Molotov cocktails where I'm like,
yeah,
why though? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, okay, whatever. It's not, it didn't take me out of it, but in a reflection, I'm like,
why'd we choose to do that?
why? You know,
Yeah.
but anyway,
Yeah.
that aside, back to just there's so many layers to this scene. Like the first thing with the media,
Yes.
you know, and how they're spinning and, oh man, that hits you here. Cause it's like, man, that happens.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's not the right story, but like we as the audience know that, but like,
Yeah. But the people around the world, how many aren't, you know?
yeah, exactly. They're only hearing what they choose to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they can't go and research it. And how much crazier is that? Like, this isn't like on the other side of our planet. In this world, it's like it's on a completely different planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's probably a lot more control over the narrative, which is
Exactly.
scary, you know?
Yes.
And there is something too that's almost more twisted in how Palpatine is used here rather than him just showing up. Because I think they could have done that and they could have done it well. But there's almost something worse about his shadow looming so large over this. And he's just, because I'm just picturing him up there on his throne eating grapes, you know, like, oh, Gorman? Yeah, we need that for the Death Star.
Yeah.
Just do what you got to do.
Yeah.
You know, and that disconnect is it's almost worse than him throwing lightning bolts at an unarmed Luke Skywalker. You know, both are evil.
Yeah.
And maybe you can argue that intentionally committing evil yourself is worse, but there's something just so inhuman about him just sitting in his ivory tower.
Yeah.
And
Not
like,
worrying himself.
Go ahead. You know, who cares about Gorman? You know, but then we see Gorman and it's like, wow, these are real human beings. And like that really does humanize, especially talking about the media.
Yeah.
You know, you might hear a story about this happening on the other side of the world. And it's like, well, okay, but it's not here. Like I care about that, like in concept, but you know, and to be fair, we're inundated with so much of this that it is tough to care about everything. Your brain's not capable of doing it. You know what I mean? You have to choose your battles,
Yes.
you know, and choose the things you're passionate about and, you know, fight those good fights. Otherwise, I mean, you're spread too thin, you know, and that's, you could argue that's part of the idea, right? Is to be spread too thin, but
Like butter scraped over too much bread.
yeah, one of my favorite quotes, but, this does have that feeling where it's like, okay, you could, you know, Palpatine is on high here, you know, pulling the strings, but then you see like you actually are down there in the ground and you're seeing like people get shot and all of this. Wow.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think too that it's like that as soon as, because you're watching it and you're like, okay, like maybe this will turn out like maybe this isn't going to be as bad. But it's when Sirill walks in and sees all the K2 units or the KX units, and it's like, oh, what are they there for? Oh no, that it's like crowd control, because you know, you see that shot in the trailer of like all the stormtroopers walking down to the city square or whatever. And you're like, well, I mean, teddy bears can fight back against stormtroopers. Like that's not that bad, but like droids that can't really be hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, oh, okay. All right.
Well, and we never see it on the scale where like people are just people,
yeah.
not soldiers. It's one thing to see the Empire, you know, in a war.
Yeah.
Where they're fighting the rebels, you know, some of the rebels get taken out. It's like, that's what they signed up for.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, you hate to see it. It's done because the Empire is evil. You want the rebels to win.
Yeah.
But it's like, you're not surprised.
Yeah.
But seeing like one of the shots of one of the many deaths that you see that really struck me was when the fight starts and that Captain Kaido, I think is his name. He just executes that lady, just that lady who's just chanting, you know, just shoots her. I was like, wow, gosh, this is okay.
Yeah.
Like,
well, even the fact too that how it all even starts is like they're willing to shoot one of their own men. That's what we need is the push.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that is, in seeing how Dedra is really shaken by that is, that was really striking to me because you have the Captain Kaido, I think that's his name.
He's the one that's on the inside with like the Krennic cape.
Yeah. With the black uniform.
Yeah, and he's got like
the scar. Yeah. The scar. Yes. Who, you know, he's just evil for evil. Right. Yeah. But yeah, seeing Dedra really struggle with like knowing what she has to do. And now you finally get the rest of the pieces here. Like Sirill thought he was here to draw an outside opposition, which everything clicked now.
This was something that did bother me is I feel like too much time passed between the last set of episodes and this set of episodes.
Really? I
felt like where I'm like, okay, so what's he been doing this entire time then? Where he was this disconnected to everything. Like, does that make sense? Because it's like been a whole year. And we started with their first insurgents. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, we've gotten to this point, and how have we not gotten further in it?
What do you mean?
Like, is he on their side? Where's he stand with all of it? Does he like, because it almost seems like too, when he walked up to to that one girl, that he might be having a few feelings for her too.
I don't think he was having feelings for her. I think that he was
feeling the cause.
Yeah, I think he was starting to.
Okay.
Because I think that over time, Sirill started to understand, like, I don't think that I'm here to do the thing that I thought I was doing.
Yeah.
Because there was reports, and I think the media was even saying it about outside opposition, you know, and as far as Sirill was concerned, that was the moment that clicked with me. It's like, that's what he's here to draw in Cassian. That's why he's so passionate about this. Like, that's the whole reason, you know? And I think these last few, maybe a month or whatever has gone by, he's really started to look at this like, I don't think I'm being told the truth here. Like, there's something, because we've clearly got outside opposition, but they don't care. Is that not it? You know, and then he sees the miners.
Also, the rumors of everything coming to the planet and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
just terrifying.
Yeah, it is. And that's like, it made me appreciate Sirill on a whole other level, because it's like, he's not a diehard for the Empire per se. He's there because he feels like the Empire is doing the right thing. Yeah. And I think that this moment during the massacre, you know, when it's just him, that shot you were talking about, where it's just slow around him, it mirrors that moment from the first season where his men are being killed by Cassian. And he's like, it doesn't matter what side I choose. They're all bad.
People are all going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was really, really powerful. And then that really escalates to the moment where, you know, he sees Cassian and he's like, okay, but I still have a purpose. I could still fulfill my duty by taking him out.
It's true. And then also with what you just said is there's the outside opposition. I can at least make a difference in that sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's just, gosh, given more time, we could do an entire series about just this,
the layers of it.
Like, it's crazy. The weave. You know, I keep bringing up the web. It's like, that's what it is, right?
Too, that it's like, especially with him, especially, is that it really shows that he is that dark mirror of Cassian. That part where he's walking down the stairs and Cassian's walking up the stairs, and they stop and they're right next to each other and they keep going. It's just like, oh my goodness. And then the fact too that they're both the relationships with the Gorman people, where it's like they're kind of on the same side, kind of, but not. It's just, it's interesting. I mean,
you're 100% right. They are mirrors to each other because they're both tools of their
causes.
Of their
it's true.
Order, if you will. Like, they're both just their tools. Yeah. They're weapons.
And I was going to say both they were both pushed away by their loved ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I think is crazy as well.
Yeah.
It's just like, I mean, the more you really sit and think about it, it's like, wow, they really are like just different sides of a coin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just what happens when you point, if at some injunction, if Sirill would have been pointed in the right direction, it could have been a terrific ally for his cause.
It's true.
For the rebellion, you know? So some of you guys get back to the chat here for a moment, because we blabbered on for quite a bit. Does Palps eat grapes? I don't know.
Probably does.
He might.
Yeah.
Bill says, what I like about the show, you don't see him, but Palps feels like he's everywhere. Yes.
He is a fear engine, so it makes sense that if the galaxy is afraid, then he is getting stronger and stronger.
Yes, HT. I know that it's not non-canonical for there to be screens. Of course, it's like every time though, you know what I mean? Where things that we would definitely see for a hologram. Like Cassian's got the iPad at the end of this, and I'm like, why is it Big's a hologram here? I don't know. I just find it an odd decision. That's all. Hello there, Quinlan. Hey, we saw you in the new show.
You were awesome.
It was cool. You were in there for just a few minutes. It was like it was kind of a lot of stormtroopers too, and surrounded in mini gore escaped due to sheer population numbers. Yeah, I mean the amount of I was surprised at how many stormtroopers. Just I mean from a production standpoint, it was nice to see
a lot of them.
So many, right?
Yes.
The Captain Kaido shot that really got me was when it stood at the window, just gently smiling with the fire reflection.
Yeah.
Cinema. Good stuff. Good stuff. Ketzel says, I will say it felt a little more muted than I thought it would be. I was imagining a cattle corral and just free shooting with very little resistance. Brother, that's what we got. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they were just, I don't know how much worse.
I was going to say, especially shooting the people with the flags where it's like, they clearly didn't shoot you. You're choosing to shoot them.
Yeah. I mean, 100%.
Yeah.
I can't help but think that Galen Erso needs the Calkite for the Death Star reactor. Yeah. I mean, that's what they need. The whole energy thing is a bunch of BS from Krennic.
Yeah. I was going to say they need the lens, right? Or like around the shield.
Reactor lenses.
Yeah, the reactor.
Duel the Kate says Dedra was shaken because at that point the Empire didn't care it was a clean mission anymore. She had to face the violence instead of being theoretical, and Sirill being down that made it real. Yeah. I mean, 100%. It's like she had that disconnect.
Yeah.
And now she had to face it. She had to be the one to make the order. Because, I mean, that's what Kaido says. He's like, I'm the trigger, you're the finger.
I think that's what's coming. I think that's going to come back to haunt her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's already haunting her.
Well, no, I think that like there's going to be repercussions for that.
Repercussions for what?
The fact that she was the one that made the order.
Oh, you mean like, okay, I get you. Yeah.
For
maybe
like going forward. Oh, yeah.
She's going to be a scapegoat.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. That's what I'm getting at.
From Schechter, it was interesting to see the continued justifications in the minds of people in the Empire. Dedra even throws it back in Sirill's face of, you enjoyed the promotions. Yeah. I mean, it's like what Kate just said. It all became real. It's like when it's, we're on paper. And I mean, that's Sirill. He's like the bureaucrat.
Exactly. He's impressing his mom.
But now,
like that. But then, yeah.
First time in Star Wars, I was scared to see stormtroopers, right? I know. What are our thoughts on the Bail Organa recast? Well, we'll get to that when we talk about Mon Mothma.
My name is Jimmy Smith.
Yeah. If you want to feel bad, this was just the opening act. The Empire went city after city, repeating the same thing over all around Gorman. Yeah, I know. I mean, because they knew, right? This was what gets me.
I had been wondering that too. That I'm like, well, why aren't they just digging on the other side of the planet? But they need the whole planet, apparently.
Because the whole planet will collapse. Yeah. I mean, that's what makes this so sad. Is because for all, this doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
It's like, this is just, it was convenience for the Empire. Like, they could have had a whole campaign about relocating the Gore, but they knew that would be unpopular. And so they're like, well, if we just, like Dedra said, this is her plan, we'll create pocket insurgencies where it's like, well, the Empire had no choice. They were provoked. It's like, well, I mean, what else was the Empire supposed to do at this point,
Yeah.
And again, it's all just that's what makes it just that extra bit of evil is it.
How it painted
they could have, they could have just, for lack of a better term here, like colonized Gorman. Well, I mean, they did, right?
Yeah.
And then extracted the people and been like, yeah, sorry, we need your planet. Yeah. But we'll do our best. We'll put you on another planet. But it wasn't worth it to them. So they were like, yeah, that's not worth the backlash. Instead, we're going to do this whole thing where we'll just kill all of you to get out of the way, and then we'll take your planet.
Yeah. I think they are going to relocate some of them. I think that's what, like,
maybe some of like the sympathizers, perhaps like the ones who are like, yeah, the Empire did the right thing, Yeah. But that's what just makes it that extra bit of evil where it's like, it was all for convenience. Huge thank you, Matthew Green, 499 super chat. If I heart it, it goes away. Can you believe it? Yeah. I know Sirill slowly changes his thoughts on what's happening, but how are we supposed to sympathize with the pawn of genocidal fascists? That's the thing that I think is important about this. And, actually, I'm just going to pull up Kate's comment. You can mourn the loss of someone's decency, but we can't sympathize with someone choosing fascism. I'll take that a step further. Let's compare this to someone like Crosshair, someone like Darth Vader. It's like, someone redeeming themselves has to mean something in the grand scheme of things. It has to.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, how do you mourn? Like,
well, isn't that the whole thing? What we love about Star Wars is you can walk down.
You can never be too far gone.
It's true that you can walk down one path and then you can choose to turn around and you could do the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not, love the sinner, hate the sin, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, we can't just forgive all of his past sins, or like we can forgive, we shouldn't forget. If that makes sense. I
mean, I just think do you mourn Darth Vader? Like, of course, I think most people do in that moment, because you're seeing it through Luke's eyes, and like that is an important moment. But it's like, of course, everybody's memed this to death at this point. Like, Vader did so much evil in his life.
Yeah.
Can we truly, feel a sympathy for him? I think we can, because I think the spirit is more complicated, and it's not black and white to just say you did bad things, therefore you can never escape them.
Yeah.
I think that there is so much gradation to that. And I think Andor actually asks those questions to us, and it does answer some of them, where it's like, yeah, you can absolutely feel sympathy for Sirill, because he's done bad things. He's been on the wrong side, but you see his realization come at the last moment, and it's too late for him. And that's sad. It's sad that he doesn't get to live out that redemption, even if Dedra had some face turn here completely. I think that's, I think you absolutely can look at someone like that and say, okay, well, we should, rather than mourn the person that they were, we should rejoice that they've come back to the light.
Yeah.
We can do both too. And there is something to be said about your sort of like galactic consequences.
Yeah.
And your cosmic consequences. And really, to get down to brass tacks here, it's like you have earthly consequences, but you also have the consequence of the soul,
Yeah.
And that is important, I think. And we can't just cast that away, just be like, nah, you did bad things, I can't accept it.
Yeah.
Like, well, then
can't forgive you.
There are gradations. Life is a lot more complicated than that.
Yeah.
It's not black and white. It's not just because you did this, therefore. I think we have to be smarter, and we have to be gracious. Grace is the right word.
Yeah.
That's the word.
I think too is the fact that, like, we're human. So we're not built to forgive completely, if that makes sense.
Say that again?
So we're human. So I think that, I don't know if we're built that way to be able to forgive people completely, if that makes sense, because we're flawed.
We absolutely are.
I don't know, man. I was going to say, we're flawed people. I'm a flawed person. You're a flawed person.
But it's difficult. I'm not saying it's not difficult.
Oh yeah. That's what I'm saying, is I don't know if we're wired to be able to do that. That's what I'm saying.
No, I disagree with
that the goal is to try to be like that. But unfortunately, we're pre-wired to not be like that.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Yes.
No, I think that even biblically speaking, of course, we have to forgive. That's a big.
Yeah, I'm not saying that we can't, but I'm just saying that, like, because we're human, it's hard.
You're saying it's our disposition to want to go against that. And I agree.
Exactly.
Look, just in the chat, for example. Yeah. So it is I think it's in our nature to say, like,
to write people off.
You did a bad thing.
Exactly.
I can't, but that is where grace comes in. And we have to have grace, because everybody.
Well, that's what separates us. That's what makes us different.
Yeah.
That's what. Right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what I mean about how, like, Andor's making us ask these questions, right?
It's true.
Like, these are important.
Yeah.
Because I completely agree with you guys. It's like, what do you do with that? What do you do with this take it to be more personally. What do you do with the person who's wronged you personally?
It's true.
It's like, you should forgive them, but sometimes, gosh, that's hard.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like we are
but you were saying it's like we're wired not to forgive, is what you said.
Yeah, we're predispositioned to not do that. But here's the thing. But with grace, that's the yes.
I guess I would just phrase it. We have the temptation.
Okay.
Yeah. Not that we're not wired to.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all. I would get at. Yeah. It's like the rational will, the higher will, all that stuff. You get into philosophy and things like that. But, so I guess to kind of cap that off, it's like, I think that if we can have grace for someone like Sirill, it's difficult because we don't fully see what his heart was.
Yeah. We have no idea what he was thinking.
But maybe he was on the right path, and we should mourn someone like that. Absolutely. Yeah. And one day, we can, with grace, forgive. Absolutely.
He did just choke out his girlfriend as well. So that's the other thing. Granted, he was upset, But like, we got to think about that too.
Sure.
Where it's like, he may be face turning, but like, yeah, that it's like,
Someone come up to some of you guys.
a lot of extremes.
So Kate's saying the thing about Sirill is that when he had his realization, he could have chosen to help. He chose to fight Andor. Yes, but I think there are layers to that, which we will. The spoiler alert. We'll get more in depth with Sirill here in the next section here of the show. Crafting on Ilum. Hello there, by the way. Do you think that Dedra is showing remorse, and do you think she did care for Sirill or even love him? Yes, I think that she loved Sirill
In her own weird way.
Yeah, it was definitely odd, but I think she definitely did. As far as showing remorse, that's really hard to say. I think that, I mean, anybody who would see death on that scale up close and being the one to cause it, I think would shake any normal person. Now, I get it. Dedra's not necessarily normal, but again, I think that's what's great about the show is it's showing the gradations. If she would have just done it and been like, look at this. Captain Kaido, look what we've done.
Look what I've done.
How boring would that be? Because that's not real. That's not a real human thing.
No.
I thought it would have been too obvious for Sirill to die from the Empire directly. I love the moment because of what it means for Cara Rylands taking a side. Yes, that too, right? I actually thought that was interesting that he's the one who pulled the trigger.
I mean, he got thrown down earlier.
Yeah.
And choked.
No, I haven't sat and thought about that one enough, but there's a part of me that wished it was a stray bullet or a stray blaster bolt. I don't know. I just think it's interesting. That's all. I don't really know where I sit on that yet. Lego Master says,
I mean, you could look at it like this too, that like, with them being two halves of a coin, he picked the right son. His sons were fighting.
I get you. Okay.
Yeah. So you can look at it like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Lego Master says, these episodes made Andor my favorite show. Legit, all of my emotions were everywhere in episode 8. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. That being said, episode 9 was also a masterpiece. Yeah, all great, right? Mm-hmm. Let's see. Look, isn't one of the core values of Christianity forgiveness? Yeah, yes, exactly. And that's kind of where we're getting. I mean, if you guys didn't know, if you're new here, like Seth and I are men of faith, and that's typically how we look through a lot of our lenses here is through faith. And so that's why I'm very adamant about like, we have to forgive. It is through grace that we are forgiven. It's true. Therefore, we must also forgive.
Gotta try and mimic JC.
Yeah. And it's like, and that's tough, right? That's one of the hardest things. And it's like,
that's what I was getting at earlier.
I know. It's just the way you worded it. That's all.
Okay.
That's
what I was getting at.
I just mean that it's
we have to be taught that. That's what I meant. That we're predispositioned to be selfish.
I got you.
Yes, we have to be taught it.
Yeah. I get you.
Be taught grace.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah. Anyway, I think it's important that we do look, and really, as Christians, but even people of morality, I think it's important to we have to even forgive someone like Palpatine, right? Who doesn't have a redemption.
Yeah.
I know, right? And that's
he is
hard.
kind of the literal devil.
Yeah. And that's hard. That's hard. Like, how do you even justify that? But it's like there's a lot of gray there. There's a lot of gray, and it's not black and white, these decisions. And that's tough, know. Let's see. I want to get to a couple more of these before we move on to Sirill. Can't forget their actions. Yeah, I mean, you could argue that. I think that you can forget, but I don't know. That's an interesting moral question.
Yeah,
right?
Because you got to bring up the whole fool me once, shame on me.
Yeah,
or shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to learn. Like, right?
It's true. Yeah,
you hope that someone makes a turn, but it's like if they're going to continue to act, right?
It's true.
I like this. To quote a Kirk Franklin song, "I'm the reason why God made grace." Good stuff. Mm-hmm. Okay, there's a lot of chat. I apologize if I didn't get to yours. If you really want us to respond to that, throw it on there again. What are your thoughts on the Force Healer? Stick around, because I have a lot of thoughts on that. So the next thing, we've been talking about it. It's this moment. I mean, what a powerful visual. This was like the most, one of the biggest moments in this arc where I was like, just blew me back. This did blow my hair back, as I like to say. Where all of Sirill's character arc just came to an apex. Yeah. And I was like, wow, this is where we were headed this whole time. Sirill became so obsessed with Cassian, with revenge, with his duty. And it didn't even occur to him that Cassian doesn't even remember him, doesn't even know who he is. And what a gut punch. And Sirill, now in his arrogance, rather than taking the shot and ending it, was going to tell him, you know, you could see it in his face. He was going to be like, oh, you don't remember on Ferrex, this, you know, I've been hunting you for
guy. Yeah.
Right. Like, and I'm the one who finally so his ego, his passion got the better of him. And you know what? I think this is interesting because I think that this is sort of a word of warning against the philosophies of the Sith in a weird way.
Oh, I think entirely. I mean, he just got done with a fight with his gal that felt an awful lot like Padme and Darth Vader speaking to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just, you know, his own hubris got him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did think it was really interesting that, granted, I know they were both tired and everything, that they were like so evenly matched.
Yeah, that fight was great.
It was. And
so good.
It's really Star Wars where you've got like this kind of personal fight happening while like this big war is happening all around them, or not war, but like a bigger fight is happening all around them and everything. Yeah. But yes, that fight was good.
I liked how visceral it felt. It wasn't two masters of martial arts, trading blows. It was like on the ground.
Slamming little glass things full of corn against people's heads.
Yeah. I think this was one of the best character arcs in Star Wars right now for me.
Yeah.
Just how it all builds and comes to this final, just shocking climax. And the actual shot of him dying, that's one of, if not maybe the hardest thing I've seen in Star Wars. And it reminds me, I'm sorry guys, of a shot in Better Call Saul, which you guys know. Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul.
I thought it was going to be Assassin's Creed, guys.
What?
I just this reminds me of Assassin's Creed, brother.
Get out of here. No, it's in Better Call Saul. I don't want to spoil it, but for you guys who've seen the show, there is a moment in the final season, the middle of the season, where a character dies, and it's a shot that, like, I was like, oh my gosh. Wow, it's just so visceral and raw, and it takes you off guard with how real it looks, how shocking it is. And it's like, you know, because a lot of film and TV, the way death is handled, it's almost in like, it's very sanitized most of the time. You know what I mean? Like, when you see people dying in Star Wars for the most part, it's like most of the time, it's just, you don't feel it. You know, sometimes you do. There's really hard hitting deaths. I'm not saying that. I just mean like the actual visual.
Yeah.
It can sometimes be shocking. Yeah, exactly. It's like, you're going to fall to the ground. But seeing Sirill die like that, I was like, wow. Like, you could just see the light leave his eyes.
Yeah.
And at a moment that was so critical for him, it was like he was at a fork in the road. And you're like, okay, maybe Sirill can come back.
Yeah.
You know, maybe he can join the good fight.
Yeah.
Nope. He's out of there. The light went out.
And then too, I think what goes with it is like Cassian's like looking at him, trying to figure out who he is. That just like, who is this guy? As he's like pulling his gun from his hands. And it's like he doesn't have a clue.
It's good. It's really, really good. I don't have much else to say about this other than just, I'm going to be sitting on this one for a while when it comes to the massacre, when it comes to Sirill specifically, and what all of that meant. Because I mean, what you said, we brushed on it, but like that conversation with Dedra where he's choking her out and stuff,
it's insane. Because like, it's all how you choose to carry yourself. Yeah. That I mean, it's okay to be angry. It's how you choose to act when you're angry.
Exactly. That's a great point.
I said that too often in my life.
Yeah. And you even look to again, pulling it back here. Look at our man, you know, the big man tossing tables, you know, whipping the temple for desecrating the house of God. It's like, you're absolutely allowed to be angry. It's like, where do you direct that? And how do you choose to be angry? I think that's one of the many lessons that we can pull.
And again, we can also pull it back to Star Wars. I mean, Vader and Padme. When you're angry, what do you choose to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes you take it out on the wrong people.
It's true. The people that actually care about you and the people that are trying to look out for you. But it's poetry. They rhyme.
To go back to what I think it was Kate said earlier, where it was about Cassian could have had his moment where he turned, but then saw Cassian. I don't think that this is necessarily a moral evil choice that he makes there. I think that it's deeper than that, because it's duty.
Well, it's making it all worth it. I think that I think that at that point, his world is crushed, or his world's in darkness. Cassian's that light at the end of the tunnel, where it's I can make things right if I do this. Yeah. At least I can make things right to myself. So this isn't all wasted time. All these deaths can be justified. This whole situation can be justified because I can bring in Cassian Andor.
Yeah.
Cassian Andor. Yes.
Yeah. Great point. Mm-hmm. Checking in with you guys. Mace Windu is a pretty shocking death. Get out of here. You're banned from the show.
He's the traitor.
Please don't spoil. Yes, absolutely. Dude, go watch the last 2 seasons of Better Call Saul. They are incredible. Mm-hmm. Season 5 is particularly excellent, but just go watch it. I'll say it. I'll say it. I think it's better than Breaking Bad. I think it's better. It's a better show. No, crazy idea there. I also got Better Call Saul vibes from this arc too. And Mon is standing next to Cassian and is showing the 2 worlds colliding. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, because there's in Better Call Saul, the 2, you got the gang world and the lawyer world, and there is a moment where they kind of coincide, and it's pretty cool. Sirill spending years of his life hunting down Cassian just for Cassian to have no idea who he was is cinema. What a gut punch of a moment. Absolutely, man. Yeah. Put it better than I did from Ketzel here. There's a lot of moments where Sirill was in a complete fog. Seeing Andor gave him renewed purpose. And then when that purpose was also ruined, he had nothing left. Yeah. I mean, broke down Sirill in his worst moment. Gosh, that's why it hits so hard, man. Yeah. Wow. Spit facts, Bill. Spit facts. I've never seen The Sopranos. It's on my list, though. It's I'm saving it for a rainy day because I've heard it's excellent. We're really getting off topic. I'm sorry. I think this. I was going
to say I could say something.
Go ahead.
I could bring us back. I do think that I thought that the K2 or KX series were freaky in that one shot. Was it Mandalorian, where they show them walking along? It's Terminator vibes, during the Night of 1,000 Tears or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. No, they were even more terrifying here.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That shot where Sirill walks in.
Yeah, and they all turn.
Just the one. Yeah. Well, the one stays and looks at him, which is probably K2. Yeah. And we're saying about Sirill as the flip to Cassian, what a moment there where the K2 makes the connection with Sirill. It's creepy.
It is creepy. And then the fact too that I didn't even think about that. It's oh man, they're pretty much blaster proof. So there's nothing there that's going to be able to stop one of these things. I guess you could drive it or hit it with a truck that could stop it, but still, yeah.
Yeah. And Matthew, I'm going to read yours here. Sirill's last moment is why I can't sympathize with him. He could have chosen to help the Gore and fix his errors, but all we got was him dying in what I believe was wrath and hate, not a sense of duty. And that's what's great about these stories. Anybody could take away, so much. It's like what we were saying at the beginning about asking yourself questions. Everybody's going to have a different answer. You know what I mean? What's great about the show is that it asks the question. It's up to you, the viewer, to answer it. And, me personally, I take that away as it's not a good decision. It's not a bad decision. He's simply going after a sense of duty. And I truly believe that Sirill thought he was doing the right thing here on Gorman. Yeah. And so when all of that fades away, when he sees the horror that's going on in front of him, he sees Cassian and is okay, but I know that that's good. Yes. I know that that's taking him mission out, and that's going to help. Mm-hmm. And so yes, of course he's wrathful. Of course he's vengeful. But I think that it comes from a place of he truly thinks he's doing what's right here.
Well, I was going to say,
that's what's hard.
Everyone who's evil thinks that they're in the right.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing that's also interesting too is when he tackles Cassian, he inadvertently saves Dedra.
Yeah, and that's interesting too.
Because I was going to say he's not exactly happy with her at that moment.
Yeah, and it's not like he knew that he was aiming at her either.
He didn't have a clue.
Yeah, really good.
Mm-hmm. Layers.
So, we've been talking a lot about this. This isn't the only big moment in this arc. Of course, the Gorn Massacre was huge. Mm-hmm. The other part.
Last thing I will say.
Go ahead. By all means.
This is earlier in the episode. The transition with the spiders, with him adjusting the spider on his shelf, then cuts to his mom, and you can see the spider right there that he gave her. That I'm just like, dude, why you gotta cook? It's just a nice transition. It's like a visual where it's like, and then it also relates to a year ago where he took the spider and he gave it to his mom, and it's like, I'm not 100% sure if she's proud of him, but she kept the spider because she cares about him, and he gave it to her. So it's just some unwritten character.
What a gut punch to end the episode with her.
Yep, just
like
a shot
payoff on a character that nobody really likes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. So the other big part of this is, of course, talking about the truth in Mon Mothma. And we've been talking a lot about more like the meat and potatoes of this arc. And here's where we're going to kind of shift. Of course, this is also a big moment, but really dive into the themes that I just thought were really special from this. And this is really what changed my mind about the show. Not that I never liked it, but about what this show really means, or at least what this arc is trying to say, you know, because I think it's easy to paint it in one corner or another, but it's saying a lot with a lot. And this moment with Mon Mothma, and I'm going to read a couple things from her speech, the tremendous speech, ties thematically very interesting with the Force healer. So I'll walk you through that. But just real quick, let's just brass tacks here. What'd you think of the arc with Mon Mothma and where she's at with the speech?
I mean, I think it's cool. I think it's neat that, like, so she firsthand sees like what's going on. And so she's doing her duty to be able to, she has a voice and she's going to use it. So I think it's cool that she's fighting in the way she can help, or she's helping in the way that she can, rather than just sitting by and not doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I loved how she, the back and forth with Luthen and how she really thinks that she's doing she's doing everything she can. She is a leader, but she's terrified of
the repercussions
for herself, and she doesn't know who to trust. The stuff with Erskine and how he works for Luthen, really solid. Again, just showing it's not all one note. It's not that Mon Mothma gets up there and is like triumphantly delivering this speech and, you know, she has no fear. No, she's terrified.
Definitely.
And not just of the Empire, but of the rebels. Like, she doesn't know, like, she knows it's the right thing, but will she have anyone to turn to after this?
Yeah.
That's so good. It's just because it would have been so easy to just say like, okay, Mon's going to deliver the speech and she's going to walk out of the Senate building, get in with Gold Squadron, and here we go to Rebels. You know what I mean? But no, there was so much to it, and it makes her character so compelling, and it really drives home why she is the leader of the rebellion. When
Cassian's helping her escape, that actually might be my favorite Cassian moment.
Yeah.
Which I know that's crazy, but I just like how, when they all get cornered in the in the bottom basically, and it's her and Erskine and him, and then when all the shots start happening, and then it's just good.
Yeah.
And then I like too that like he distracts the driver and then gets him too, and then he's her driver, which like that's kind of always been his gig.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is the most important cargo. So
there's so much interplay here too, where you know, you have Bale's team, you have what's going on there, you have there's an ISB plant.
I do.
And I was going through, like, I have in my notes because I just kind of track my thoughts as I'm going through, and I'm like, is Bale's team actually bad? Is this just Luthen being paranoid?
No, I knew
like,
that girl was bad. I knew
yeah. She's had a look.
Yes, she did. But I was just like, oh, there it is.
Yeah. Great point. I was just about to say that from Ketzel. I love the subtext of Bale stating he can't run, he has to stay. Yes, I caught that too, where he's like, he doesn't say it because he can't. No one can know the secret. And I thought that was great moment. It did. The elephant in the room here, not being Jimmy Smits, does hurt a little bit. But again, like we said last week, we got to rip this Band-Aid off as Star Wars fans. We got to. If we're going to keep having Star Wars projects farther and farther into the future, we either have to abandon this whole timeline or we have to accept this has to happen, you know. I
miss you, Jimmy.
Yeah, I know. I miss him too. It would have been great.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's just we got to take our medicine here.
Yeah.
I love that Luthen knew the Organa's crew was infiltrated because of Lonnie Jung's ISB agents was a plant. I didn't even make that connection, but yeah, that's probably true because of Lonnie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a a great point. The Andor projects are so good at keeping me on the edge of my seat when I already know the outcome. Will the rebels get the plans from Vader? Will Cassian survive the massacre? Will Mon escape? I know they are really good at building tension. I mean, master classes in building tension. On a similar vein here from Schechter. Also, can we just say that Gilroy has done an amazing job of showing us that we deserve better Star Wars? This to me is the best Star Wars show we've gotten, consistently amazing throughout. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that this is a particular flavor, and if this is the flavor of ice cream you love, then that's great.
Yeah.
And I think there is something to be said, like this is made with better ingredients sometimes, and I wish that some of the other stuff got the better ingredients.
Yeah.
But not everything needs to be a giant web of tension and build up and all these things. There's definitely different flavors of ice cream for everybody.
Again, different types of teaching, different stories to teach.
Yeah.
Yeah. Different subjects.
To bring us back to knock it off. Okay. Get out. We're not here to bash Kenobi. All right. It would have been cool if that was made with the same ingredients as Andor. I'm not going to lie. All right, fine. But I still love Kenobi, and I think it's just a different flavor. That's all. It's just a different flavor. If it's not your flavor, that's okay. But let me have my rocky road. Get out of here. Gosh, I'm never going to live that one down. Kenobi. So the other thing, from
really
David's
like
comment, it was definitely odd seeing Bale, not Jimmy Smits, but honestly, I thought Ben Brown was fine. Yeah, I thought he did great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, yeah. I mean, and coming back to this, Andor's great, but it's no Jedi, right? I mean, it's sci-fi, not fantasy, and sometimes fantasy is your flavor, and that's great.
No,
right?
it definitely, I think that, as I said earlier, that Andor's an interesting companion piece to Star Wars.
Yeah.
Once you know the full story, then you, like, if you start with Andor, I don't think that that's the right idea.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
100%. 100%. So getting back to the truth here, and this is what I found so compelling, and this is the standout moment from Mon's speech, in my opinion. It says, I believe we are in crisis. The difference between what is said and what is known to be true has become an abyss. Of all things at risk, the loss of an objective reality is perhaps the most dangerous. The death of truth is the ultimate victory of evil. First of all, just on the surface, incredible stuff. But it's the line about objective reality that I love. I am a fan, like one of the, I don't know if you'd call it political tangents or like, or fascinations I have. It's not, it's philosophical, perhaps is the right word. It's about like postmodernism. I don't know if you know what that is, but a lot of postmodernism is an argument against objective reality. Now that's very surface level. Okay. There's like a lot more to it than that, but just for the sake of our discussion here, there's a lot of suggestion that maybe truth is subjective, and it's, you know, and this is
your own truth, and you, yeah,
that is a particular irritation of mine, that idea, your truth, my truth. I know there's layers to that statement. It doesn't, but it does irritate me because it's like, there is objective reality. There has to be, or we don't speak the same language, you know? And so I love this from Mon Mothma, because they're like, if we are to speak the same language, if we are to understand this conflict together, we have to understand that there is objective reality. There is truth, and truth is, go ahead.
Andor's gray. Is she making it black and white?
No, I don't think that's true. I think that you can have,
well, I mean, but then this leads right into the original trilogy that is more black and white.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? You get what I'm trying to say?
No, I completely agree with that. This definitely is a building block to that. 100%.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, yeah, what do you think about this? Like objective reality, just that concept in general. Because I know some people, they object to that statement.
That there is right and wrong? Is that what you're, or like, what are you exactly asking me? I'm sorry.
Oh, what we were saying about like everybody, if truth is to be subjective, then that creates a chasm. And with what Mon Mothma said, if truth is to be subjective, then the distance between what is said and what is known to be true will become an abyss. Yeah. It has to, because there becomes layers to it.
I agree with her.
And okay, good. This is, I guess, the whole my truth, your truth thing is a personal irritation of mine. Yeah. And this is why, because it's like, we all have different experiences, of course.
Sure.
But that doesn't mean the truth is different.
Yeah.
You know, because
what actually happened.
yeah, like you are
How
in
you
front of me
experienced it.
right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I could see you. The audience could see you if I cut to your camera.
It looks like I'm in front of you. Remember, I'm 6 feet that way because I'm so little.
That's right. Forgive me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's only 5'1".
Yes.
But you're right here in front of me. I could see the cord hanging off of your microphone. I could see that I wish that it was behind the mic instead of in front of it because it looks tacky that way. You know what I mean? And that's the objective reality of what I'm seeing right in front of me. Mm-hmm. You know, and that has to be true. And so there are, because that has to be true, because that has to be true, truth has to be objective. And if truth is to be objective, there has to be a source. There has to be an uncaused cause, which ultimately comes back to the faith in biblically, like where does the truth come from? And I love this. This is why I love this speech. I love this arc so much because I think this is such an important idea about objective reality and objective truth. Mm-hmm. And again, tying it back to Star Wars, she's absolutely right. If the truth is to be objective, then we need to understand what really happened on Gorman.
Happened at Gorman.
And if we really understand what happened on Gorman, then we see that the monster is Emperor Palpatine. There is a monster, right? We can't have this idea where it's like, well, but that guy who watched the Imperial broadcast, in his opinion, in his truth, Emperor Palpatine did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
And it's like, if truth is to be subjective, then that guy's right.
He wasn't even there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So has to be objective for that guy to be wrong.
Yeah.
For the guy who says Emperor Palpatine is right, truth has to be objective. And it's just, I know we're getting very like philosophical here, but I mean, again, Andor's asking the question.
Yes.
And I loved that.
Different type of Star Wars show, different type of Dune Sea. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just so good.
Mm-hmm.
So good. I see someone new in the chat here. Sorry, just joined the stream. Have to quote Walter. So you have no frame of reference here, Donnie. You're like a child who wanders in the. What's that? I don't know what that's for.
Wait,
fill me in. There's more.
Is that from The Big Lebowski?
Oh, I don't know.
You said Donnie. I heard that.
I don't know. I don't know what the quote's from. But,
okay.
Baronessa, understanding is a three-edged sword. Your side, their side, in the truth. Ambassador Kosh, right? There is, again, this is why I said it's like. There is very surface level when it comes to the idea of like objective reality versus like postmodernism and things like that. You can go really in, like there's books and literature, all kinds of stuff, right? Because there are experiences, of course, and there is the truth at the end of the day. And like Matthew Green is saying, events can't be left up to interpretation. Absolutely. I think that we can look at a story and come up with different interpretations, right? As we're doing right now. Mm-hmm. But there are things in this world that are true, and there are things in this world that are not true. Just like here, the Gorman were massacred by the Empire. That's the truth. Yeah. And it's important that the people know about that.
Yes.
Yeah, Big Lebowski. Thank you. I did not know what that was from. Isn't Andor a bit too real, not fantasy enough, not fun enough? I mean,
sometimes. Sure. A lot of the time for me.
I mean, it's definitely not fun. It's definitely not fantasy. I think it's just up to your personal opinion as to whether that's your flavor of ice cream, as I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
Me personally, I've come over to the side, it's become an acquired taste, you could say.
Yeah.
Seth seems to lean a little more on the other side, right? Where it's like, it's not your flavor.
I'll be honest, it's not really my thing. But, I can still respect it. I can respect the art. I can respect I love that Star Wars is still being a vehicle to teach. I felt like with the Acolyte, it wasn't really that. And I feel like that, so I can appreciate it for.
Isn't that interesting? Where it's like the Acolyte definitely is fantasy.
Yes,
but it's just the quality of writing is not on par.
Well, I was just going to say, I feel like that again. You have a responsibility when you are making a Star Wars project, because I think at the end of the day, Star Wars, as we've said, is a teaching tool. Yeah, and so I do appreciate that Andor is a teaching tool at the end of the day.
I mean, David Furtado's putting it great here. Andor and Skeleton Crew are a perfect example of how diverse Star Wars can be in its storytelling. Absolutely. Yeah. Like Skeleton Crew is way more fantasy, also really well written. Yes. Andor, definitely more sci-fi. And again, it all comes down to what's your flavor. Yeah. And I just want to emphasize that because it's like, just because Seth, this isn't his flavor, doesn't mean he's wrong. Because this isn't a scenario where there is an objective truth. Because art is subjective, right? It's true. It's not something that exists tangibly in the real world. Yeah. And it's kind of the fun of everything, right? Mm-hmm. Fun of art. The fun of art is like if everybody liked it, it'd be boring.
It would be.
If everybody thought the same thing, it would be boring. Kate's saying she's calling out the Senate for starting with the truth that Palpatine is right, and therefore reality needs to be twisted to fit that narrative instead of examining reality and coming to truths. Yes, absolutely. I mean, there is that aspect because they are twisting. But the fundamental concept there, I think, is still the more important thing here. That's like, we have to understand that things did happen. Mm-hmm. Things are true, and what is true matters.
It's true. Well, I mean, too, that like this was all built on a lie.
Yeah.
They shot their own guys. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. A lot of people start with the conclusion and work backward. Yes. And that's true too. And that's called confirmation bias. And that's absolutely a thing. And that could be just in fact, it's a very dangerous concept. You know, you want to believe Palpatine didn't do,
and then so you
did the right thing.
You start filling in the blanks yourself.
Yeah. And so you're like, well, but if this happened this way, then actually, and that's where you start to get into the my truth thing. And I'm like, no, Mon Mothma's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Very, conspiracy theory.
Oh, dude, I feel like that's another tangent I could get. Conspiracy theories drive me nuts. Yeah,
but I'm just saying that train of thought.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Yes, I mean, gosh, I was going to say not to pick on these guys, but I love to pick on these guys, the flat earthers. You know, it's like it's the same thing.
I think it's like a club at this point,
brother.
I think
no,
they know.
I've seen too much from that group.
Okay,
but it's like that.
Are there any conspiracy theories you believe in?
Oh Lord. The ones that are colloquially called conspiracy theories, I think, are ones that, like, I just have a standard for what a conspiracy theory is, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So, for example, the moon landing. I'm not saying don't worry. That's one that drives me nuts, is the conspiracy around the moon landing.
Yeah.
There's just too much evidence. And it's like, so the idea with conspiracy theories that drive me nuts is like the layers of secrecy that you have to have on like a national stage, especially in the age of the internet, is simply not possible.
Yeah.
Okay. There are things, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like, gosh,
I mean,
I'm trying to avoid just super controversial topics.
If you need me to share, yeah. I mean, there's a couple that I believe. Like, I believe that I believe Michael Jackson could be alive. I could totally buy that he needed to get out, and so he basically staged his own death. Because especially with like the story behind that, like his personal physician performed CPR on a bed when that's impossible. You can't perform CPR on a bed. So that's and then also when you watch the ambulance leave, that like it's not moving particularly fast. Yeah, I think that was all staged.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what you believe.
Yeah. So there's one, a more fun one. I think So have you seen Space Jam?
Of course.
Okay. So you know that's based around the time where Michael Jordan stopped playing basketball to play baseball for a short period of time, right? Mm-hmm. I've often wondered if he got in trouble for gambling.
Oh, okay.
And they had to punish him in a certain way. And like they didn't want to tarnish the league and tarnish him. So they said, you got to take some time off.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a Pete Rose situation. Yeah. So anyway, that's because it's so weird that it's like at the top of his game, they've won 3 in a row. Hey, I'm going to stop. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so there's 2 fun ones, I feel like, that so we don't get too down the rabbit hole.
I was going to say, there are some more controversial ones.
Those are just ones that I'm like, I could buy that. Like I could really buy that.
I guess what I was going to get at is like there's the ones that are typically called conspiracy theories that I believe in, I just don't think fit the criteria. Yeah. Where it's like, but everybody knows this. Like, this isn't just because the official story is this. Maybe that's technically still a conspiracy theory, but it's like, there's a couple of those where I'm like, okay, this is the official story, but literally everybody, like on both sides, says that this didn't happen. Yeah. You know, that's why, like, again, the moon landing drives me nuts, because it's like, dude, there's so much. Yeah. There's so much. I listened to a great podcast years ago just talking about like someone who grew up during that period. And they were like, if you were there at the time, you'd realize that everything was building to this. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I've talked to this guy that goes to my church that is he's studying to basically be a rocket scientist, for lack of a better term.
Okay.
He works on trajectories and stuff. And him and I have talked at length about the moon landing and the idea, and the idea of it, and could they have pulled it off? And So
please tell me you're not a moon landing denier.
No, but I mean, it is interesting to to read about, I guess, where it's like, oh, okay, maybe Stanley could like, haven't you heard that that The Shining is, like
this, okay, but to tie it all back to how we started this conversation about how like you need confirmation bias and you backfill. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you are willing to jump to crazy you're willing to make crazy jumps to get to the conclusion that you want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what? Fine. I thought of a fun one.
Sure.
That I do believe in.
Yeah.
There is a geological site in Africa called the Eye of Something. I forget the name of it.
Yeah.
And it suspiciously looks like Atlantis. And it's up there.
Up at it's in the desert, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's in the Sahara. And it looks like the concentric rings. And I'm like, I'm there, guys. I don't know.
Yeah, that maybe Atlantis did exist.
Yeah.
And maybe it was underwater at one point.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay.
Brother, desert. Okay, I see you in here. This is a Star Wars show, okay? We're not getting into all this other stuff.
What's that say? I didn't even read it. What's
it says focus on the dumb ones. They've been going on about other ones we're not talking about.
Yeah, no, again, that's why I said fun ones. Yeah. That was the whole
Yeah. So, okay, let's move on. So I mentioned you're good. I'm just, we try to keep a certain rapport here because we know we got all walks of life in the audience.
It's true.
Obviously Seth and I got opinions, but the only ones that really need to be on display here are our dumb opinions about Star Wars.
That's true.
And you can yell at us about those.
Yeah.
It's just not, there are other people who know way more than us about real world stuff, and you can listen to those guys.
Yes.
Because you'll be way more informed. And also, there's just talking about confirmation bias and stuff. Don't need that from us. No, thanks.
No,
it's okay.
Yeah. And I'll be the first to admit, we don't even know everything about Star Wars.
No, we say this all the time. It's like, we're just two dudes who talk. Yeah. We're not lore masters or anything like that.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, okay. To tie it all back, I know we've been going on crazy tangents today. The truth, I think, is important for this last thing that actually was at the beginning of the first arc. And that is about faith. And this really struck me. And I know that you, first, just because I know you take issue with this, like just from a canonical standpoint.
Yeah.
So before we get deep on sort of the messaging here, because I found this very striking.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me kind of your thoughts about the Force Healer.
Again, I just don't like it because I don't like that she's just chilling on Yavin.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay.
Because the fact that, but granted, there have been retcons and changes to Star Wars because that now the door's cracked for everybody. Okay. That was not how things were in 1977. Let's be real.
You don't think so?
No, I don't know. Maybe they were, but it definitely, when you watch A New Hope, it seems like that there aren't any Jedi left. It's so far that like Han Solo's even saying that, what, are they roasting me? You're smiling.
No, okay, it's fine. It's fine.
All right. I mean, yeah.
Matthew Green's cracking me up here.
Okay. I was going to say, I already saw that someone said that I have bad takes like earlier in it. So,
I just said dumb takes only, please. That's all he said.
No. It was much higher.
Oh.
No, it called me out. I saw it.
It was me. It was my burner account.
Oh, it was your burner account. Okay. But anyway, so, I mean, even Dodonna, when they're ready to attack the Death Star, I mean, he says like, may the Force be with us. Like that really feels like a whole, like Godspeed to all of us, even though that it almost feels like, if there's a God, Godspeed. Like there is not a lot of light left in the universe.
Okay.
And so the whole idea that if there's someone just outside performing miracles, it would make it seem like that, oh man, like the Jedi aren't gone. Their ideology, like Vader hasn't wiped them all out.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying is just like when I don't like it with how it kind of connects back to Star Wars, or at least into the OT.
Your issue is that you view this as like Luke had to be the first spark in a long time, and this detracts.
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. Like the whole thing too is like that. That's like the miracle of him destroying the Death Star.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, him turning off the targeting computer.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm getting at is I just didn't really care for it.
I will respectfully disagree with you.
That's
I think
fine.
that now I think that your argument definitely applies to characters like Kanan and Ezra. Well, Kanan's a great character. Ezra's up in the air. great characters.
Yeah.
But I do agree where it's like Luke has to be the first spark and he has to be kind of the last Jedi, right?
Yeah.
I agree. I'm 100% with you.
Yeah.
This lady's not a Jedi though, you know?
Yeah,
and I
she's
think it's
performing miracles.
yes, but I saw someone
She's
in here
using
talk about
the
how
Force.
real this was, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, so we chatted a little bit about this off air, but take a character like Han Solo, okay?
Yeah.
In the first movie,
He's never seen anything that makes he's flown from one side of this galaxy to the other,
Yeah.
and he's never seen anything that makes him believe that there's like a force. Yeah.
Picture Han Solo is present for this scene. He
Exactly.
even sees some people get healed. Do you really think a character skeptical like Han Solo will see that and say,
It'd help.
and no, I think, again, think about how real
He's
world this
hanging
is.
out with Luke. He sees Luke do it, and then he becomes a believer.
But he
Konnor.
does it. Not really.
What do you mean, no?
He's still skeptical. 100%. Yeah.
He's carrying around. He gets firsthand with it.
Okay, fine. Let's say as soon as he sees Luke do some Force stuff, he's 100% on board. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, let's say Han is present for this Force healing stuff.
Yeah.
The reason why I think they went this route, it's definitely reflecting like faith healers in the real world.
Yeah.
And so if a character like Han Solo were to watch that, I don't think he walks away being like, wow, my opinion has changed. He's going to be like a lot of people in the real world. Regardless, now I just said faith healing, and everybody in the audience already has an opinion on that, regardless of that they've seen anything. And that's my point, is because you go to a church that does, let's not like, an authentic place of worship, and you see someone in a wheelchair walk up or roll up, and then they stand because of the healing. Again, everybody in the audience already just made a decision about that. Yeah. They said if they saw that with their own eyes, some people would look at that and be like, whatever. She wasn't really paralyzed.
Yeah.
There are other people out there that would say like, oh my gosh, or oh my God. Yeah. Praise God. That's what they would say. Han Solo would be the first guy. He would watch that Force healing happen and say like, what a scam. No way. And that's why I like that they went this route. And it was ultimately what I'm going to get at, is because I think that showing the Force in this way is such a small scale thing. Of course, there would be people, look at Chirrut Inway, right? Yeah. Like there are going to be people that believe in the Force, believe in God, and there's going to be gradations to that. Yeah. They're not everybody who is a Force user wields is as bombastic.
I get
right?
that. Yes. I understand that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that, again, from a canonical standpoint.
I'm even saying from a canonical standpoint. That's all I'm getting at. It does seem that the chat's split. Some people are on my side, some people are on your side.
Again, I think also it's just the fact that like Star Wars has like changed a little bit.
Yeah.
Because again, if you just watch episode 4 in a bubble, it makes it seem like there really aren't that many left because Vader hunted everyone down.
The Jedi, yes.
Gosh, no, they've changed it now. That like the door's cracked for everyone. I don't know if that was really the case in 2017. 1977.
I disagree. I think that when he says, I want to go with you and learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi like my father. Two things, ways of the Force and become a Jedi like my father. Yeah. Of course, there are plenty of people who probably worship the Force in different ways. I mean, canonically, that's true too. It's like there are tons.
The Night Sisters.
Yeah. I just don't see
looking for an example.
Force user equal Jedi. I just don't.
I'm not saying that.
But you just said like in 1977, like Vader hunted all those guys down.
He did. You're the last of their religion.
The Jedi religion.
But that also like makes it seem like too that like that if you hunt them all down, then there's no way that you can even train in it anymore.
Okay.
What?
I just disagree with the premise.
Okay,
I think
that's
that the
fine.
Force
Sure.
if the Force is a religion, then there would be many people who worship it, not just the Jedi. I mean, even in that movie,
but they even
Darth
killed
Vader
but they even killed all the they even killed the Night Sisters at that point. Grievous killed all of them. Like they were wiping out all the other versions, so it was just the Sith were left.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're telling. Okay, so let me just see if I understand your point of view.
No, okay.
That Vader was also coming after the local Force healers too, in your small town Church of the Force.
Maybe not him, but his Inquisitors.
Okay, we'll have to just agree to disagree.
Your favorite show, Kenobi's about that. any kind of
Jedi. I got this, my ultimate point here is Force user does not equal Jedi.
They're looking for the kids too, so they can train them up to be Inquisitors as well. Anybody that's Force sensitive, they're looking for them.
Force sensitive
so
to a
Palpatine can take take their magic blood. That's the other thing too.
Yeah, I mean Force user to a degree.
Yeah.
I'll put this up to the chat because I'm seeing people. Johnny's here roasting me, saying I need to be booted. So we're putting this up to a poll.
Yeah. What are you gonna make it? Which
does the Force healer break? Is the Force healer? Does the Force healer devalue Luke? That's what I'm gonna put. Whoops. Okay. You got. Oh, whoops.
Cleared it.
I didn't mean to do that. Okay, there you go. You guys tell me. Because I just don't see. Yeah, there might have been better way. You guys who are in the chat, you get it. You get what we're talking about. It's like, is it
only a Sith deals in absolute?
Yeah, Psh, nerds. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean it's true. But this is why I like Star Wars is these kind of harder questions.
So. Yeah, see, it seems like people are definitely on both sides of this. I guess my ultimate thing is like,
I'm not saying that she doesn't stand for something good.
Everybody would believe it, or if we're going to connect it again to the real world here too, like the Force is like God. There are some people who just like, they don't believe in any specific religion. They just believe in a higher power, and that's kind of how they operate. I just don't see how in Star Wars that breaks even 1977 canon. I just think that Luke is the first Jedi, and that's a big deal because he's a Jedi. It's not because he can use the Force.
Yeah.
The Force is just integrated into the...
Again, the whole thing too is it's just with how even May the Force be with you being used, it just seems like the Force has been gone for so long. The Force is just so scarce. You can't find it. Han even says
that's probably
Luke,
true too.
May the Force be with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I'm getting at. But the Force is right outside. That's all I'm saying.
And I guess at the end of the day, just to tie it specifically back to this moment, I do think that there are characters, like, I don't think that people would look at that and be like, the Force is back, guys. We don't need Luke Skywalker. We got this lady from the mess hall. She knows what she's doing. I don't see that correlation.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay.
I just don't see how they contradict. I think the Force can still be, I mean, again, very practically here, this Force healer says that she hasn't felt it in a long time. Even she is like, thank you for this moment of clarity. Thank you for this, because it's been so long. I was beginning to lose faith. And again, she doesn't hear that and then immediately goes like, whips out her lightsaber. And it's not like she's Jocasta Nu or something.
Yes.
That's all I'm getting at. We do have, okay.
What'd the chat say?
We have, the poll.
Yeah, the poll.
88% on my side, it looks like. Sorry, Seth.
It's fine.
I do think you have, like, again, I think your argument is perfect for a character like Ezra or Kanan. I think that makes everything you're saying. He's like, yep. I think there's a lot to that where like Luke has to be the first spark. But I think that there would definitely be people out there who just believed in the Force, and some people who could even maybe use it a little bit.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean they're lifting rocks and, targeting computers and things like that, this is the difference between a neurosurgeon Luke and a podiatrist Force healer. Yeah, I mean, sure. Similar, yeah. Only way to settle this, dueling pistols. Hey, don't tempt us. We could do that.
Yes.
So, okay. So then it happened. It's here, right? We're on the same page, just so we get to the next part.
Again, I don't hate what she stands for. I just don't like it.
No, I know. It's just you're talking about, I get it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, but it's here. Whether or not we agree, disagree on that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move into like the meat and potatoes of what she's discussing here, because I think that this is really important stuff. So personally, I don't know if you felt this, when the concept was first introduced here, and they're like, and Cassian's like, oh my gosh, a Force healer. Come on. I thought this was going to be the tried and true. We're going to make fun of Christianity and faith healers and things like that. That's the direction I thought they were going. Did you feel like that immediately?
I thought they were just going to mock. I mean, Andor is kind of known for mocking the there are no Jedi.
Yeah, it's
Andor.
completely.
So I thought it was
exactly, and that's why I thought that. Yeah. So then she starts talking, and you get, because Bix she's like, we should just try it, and Cassian's like, this is ridiculous. We're not doing this, right? I thought this was one of the best displays of real world faith and how people encounter it, deal with it, accept or reject it, that I've ever seen in media personally. And I love that Andor, which is famously anti-space wizard, somehow made it tied everything back, and just the small infusion of the fantasy, which I wouldn't even call this fantasy. It's bringing in religion into a sci-fi world using the established sort of lore, if you will, you know, and this just, I'm just going to read some of my notes here just because I don't want to mess up my thoughts here, but faith can be a really tricky thing. Even this Force healer has been skeptical and even begun to doubt. We just mentioned that a moment ago, and how real is that? Like, I think that as a person of faith, you should be skeptical, right? It's important. It's important to have skepticism. It's important to ask questions, and you absolutely should do that.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm a big believer in, like, you should judge things. Judging is protection. Yeah. Yeah. You can't just go through the world. I mean, you gotta be able to make decisions and keep yourself safe.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And that goes with, like, that goes with people, and that goes with situations. What?
I'm just going to put this up there.
I can't. Okay.
What, you can't read it?
I can't read it. I have no idea what it says.
You can't read that.
It says not enough
fantasy Star Wars. Andor inserts Force healer. Too much Star Wars.
What? Is that how you feel?
No, I think he was just joking because you're like, not enough fantasy. Here's fantasy. Nah, it's too much. It contradicts.
No, again, he plays fast and loose with the canon.
Oh, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, that. Again, this is more of an overarching problem I have with it. But anyway, continue. It's not.
So anyway, about skepticism, it's really important. I think in my experience, it was my skepticism that grounded me personally to my faith. It's like asking questions like, I don't get this. You're telling me this is biblical? I don't know. And like this, the same way, Cassian's like, come on, man. Like the Force healing, this doesn't make any sense. Like, this is stupid. I'm not doing this. Yeah. I just think that's really real. And it's an important thing for people to see, especially if they're maybe wrestling with their faith. Maybe they have no faith at all. Maybe they want to know what it's about. It's like, I think that especially the modern church, to criticize my own flavor of faith, it's too sanitized sometimes. And it talks too much about the lovey-dovey and the warm feelings you feel inside when you give your life. And it's like, it's not like that all the time. That's not real.
Yeah.
And
it's a struggle. What's
real is asking questions and answering those questions. And maybe those answers are hard, and wrestling with those hard questions and ultimately coming to the conclusion. It's like, I don't know everything. And maybe I should defer, because there is an objective truth to come back to that. Right.
And also the idea too, that it's like, sometimes it does require a leap of faith.
Yeah.
Because if you know everything, then it's no longer faith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, this Force healer was in a way healed by Cassian, which is interesting. It's like she had a spiritual scar.
A renewal
that Cassian,
of faith.
Yeah, exactly. A renewal. Yeah, it was a good way to put it. And I really want to focus on that for a moment, because I think that can be so missable just from us as people. It's that, Cassian's gone through this all of these experiences, not knowing if they were worth it, on this path. And because of those experiences, because of what he did and what he will do, that healed this woman, this random woman that we don't even know her name. Think about that. Like, everybody, think about how your actions may have healed somebody in ways that you don't even know.
I mean,
right?
That's a fact. I mean, I've had coworkers tell me that I've had effects on them. Didn't have a clue.
Yeah, right.
So,
and that's important. And it's important as a matter of
your actions have, as the meme, you love memes. Your actions will have consequences.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's a really important idea, though, is that you might not know that you've barreled through this universe doing all kinds of things. Maybe they're good. Hopefully the good outweighs the bad.
Yeah.
And maybe that good and maybe even the bad affected people in ways you have no idea, and like this woman got to be healed from that. And that's such another real thing. It's like, wow, Andor really did a great job of showcasing that. And now finally we get to see how the Force is using Cassian. This show, again, that's not about space wizards, seems to want to.
It's about destiny though.
Yeah. About destiny and
sacrifice.
Fate. Yeah.
Yes.
And I gotta say, I loved that. I love that a lot. My bad. Sorry for the black screen there. I loved that a lot. How we were brought back to this a very grounded thing with the messenger. Calling Cassian a messenger. He has something that he will yet to do, and it's about destiny. And we even tie back, when it comes to Luthen. Luthen talking to Cassian about whose whole arc has been, I'm just trying to make my own decisions. And he says, have you though? Like you did all the, were these your choices? And maybe there is something guiding you, Cassian. Maybe there is something beyond just yourself. Yeah. And even Bix realizes that at the end and understands I need to get out of the picture because
it's going to pull him from the path or from his path.
Fate, the Force, however you want to look at it, needs to use you.
Yeah.
And I'm in the way. And it's kind of interesting how now at the end, this all does come back to faith, and how these characters have faith and they need faith.
Again, with what I said earlier, maybe the black and white is coming to Andor, or finally, we're getting into that Star Wars, the movies.
Yeah. We're getting into that kind of foundational morality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do we need to go to Seth time for a minute?
No.
Okay. I was just going to say, it's all right. Okay. Okay. That's fine.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll say about this, just because I loved it, and hey, who would have thought Andor would give me an opportunity to yap about the gospel and everything like that? Huh? How about that? Andor, of all places. Who would have known? Huh? Yeah. Andor, I hardly knew her. Crazy. I love that the Force is using Cassian. Just a person who's done horrible things, who's done great things. Again, real world parallel. Jesus used people again, it's not that thing where going back to the earlier discussion in the show about how people can change. Yeah. I mean, murderers, tax collectors, which are arguably worse, all of these things, Jesus used all those people.
It's true. Fishermen.
Then, became fishers of men.
Yes.
And the Force is doing the same with Cassian. And again, how we can take that away. It's we can be used for great things. And even if you don't believe, that's okay.
It's true. You can still do the right
thing.
I
hope that you do. And hey, our DMs are always open, of course. But even if you're not a person of faith, you can be used, and you can
a positive light. You can be a light in a dark world.
Exactly. You can be a candle in the void, even in times when you don't think you are. Right. Yeah. And I think that's really important. So at the end of the day, space wizards are great. It's great to form that moral foundation, but I think Andor actually gives us a real look at what it means to have faith, struggle with faith, ask questions about faith, and accept or reject that faith.
It's true.
And that's very real. A lot of people everybody's going to have their own path here. Right. So, Seth, let's talk a little bit about retcons. Something fun to end the show.
If not, I'd appreciate you pointing that elsewhere.
I'll let you take it away.
I don't know. I mean, listen, we've been told about this whole campfire thing plenty of times with Dave and Sam Witwer. He has really good he has a good speech about this and stuff like that. But at what point you got to hold some pieces of it sacred, because some retcons did happen in this show, this episode specifically, or this group of episodes specifically. K2SO comes up that they completely redid his story, right? And at what point then do you I just think that we're getting into the territory where nothing is sacred anymore, and little changes are okay. The Ahsoka novel, and then going and then doing the Siege of Mandalore. A lot of those, the events are pretty similar. Yes, it's a little different, but some slight tweaks. That's campfire stuff. This is completely different. And so the whole thing is, it's frustrating because Disney's all under one house. they could be monitoring this. They pay people to monitor this stuff.
Yeah.
So what's going to stop the next guy just going, hey, I've got a good idea for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. That like, who gets the final say in that?
Yeah.
That like how things actually went down, that you got to hold some stuff sacred.
Sure.
Yeah. So it just is, I don't know. It's just kind of frustrating. Cause again, Tony, I feel like, well, even with the speech in this, they changed it. We heard some of it in Rebels.
Yeah.
And then they changed it because they didn't like it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think that's dangerous territory. That's all.
I personally, this is what irritates it. I have a hard time with this because George did this all the time too, where he was like, yeah, I don't care about that. We'll change this lightsaber color. We'll do this. Like, I don't know. Well, he does what he wanted to do, you know, and we can't really judge him for it. It was his story.
Yeah. So the maker changing his stuff, you can't
sure,
really
like that's one.
that.
Yeah. And I get there are gradations to it.
Yeah.
When it comes to the comic, so I'll read a little bit from this Entertainment Weekly article here, which talks about one of these. It says the Andor creative team hasn't been afraid to bend Star Wars canon to fit the show. The latest batch of season 2 episodes rewrites how Cassian meets his droid companion K2SO. It essentially wipes the events of the comic Rogue One, Cassian, and K2SO special out of continuity. And it's like, okay, it's a comic. And in a perfect world, I'd love if that it was all consistent.
Yeah. And I think they have the capability of having it actually be consistent.
Oh, I think their problem is they try too hard to... How do I want to say? They try too hard to market each individual project to its max. And so it's like, Rogue One's coming out. We got to have a comic. We got to have a tie-in novel. We got to have a series of figures. We got to have stuff in the role-playing games. We have to have all this stuff that ultimately becomes canon. And it's like, okay, you just bombarded me with all of this. You just bombarded canon with all of these stories. And it's like, what if the original creator wanted to come back, right? Yeah. Like, what about that? Then what do you do? And so it's like, at some point, I think that there does need to be...
What happened in the chat? Why does it look like that?
Well, because Nihilus has 20 gifted subs. Thank you so much, Nihilus. It's very kind.
Okay. Thank you. That's very kind of you.
It is very nice. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. I just looked over and there's just everything.
Just like tiny. A wall of...
Yes. It's just all tiny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gift sub bomb. Thank you so much. That was very kind of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, now, hey, everybody can spam their Star Wars emojis, throwing some Babu Fricks in there. Hey. So anyway, I get why then things have to be retconned because, like I said, there's such a bombardment of canon sometimes. It's like, well, but I wanted to go back to that story.
Yeah.
And now that I am back, like, I think that I saw someone up earlier in the chat was like, there's gradations, like movies, live action shows, animation, and then comics are kind of at the bottom. So the K2SO retcon doesn't bother me as much because I'm like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. But the thing that does irritate me is Mon Mothma's speech.
Yeah.
Because if we can bend over backwards to make somehow Palpatine returned make sense with every single show that's come out other than Andor, but like, you know, Bad Batch and the Mandalorian timeline and all this stuff, if we can do everything possible to make that work in canon, then I think you could have made Mon Mothma's speech in Rebels canon.
Yeah. Really.
I mean, and that's what irritates me is like, why the line is so arbitrary.
Yeah.
If the line was just, okay, this was like, we can retcon things in comic books because sometimes, you know, whatever. If it was just that, then I'd be like, okay. But it's not that. It's like, it's constantly something different. Again, and it's frustrating.
I just think it's a slippery slope because it's just like, well, the next guy comes along and then just decides, I got the $1 billion idea, Disney.
Exactly.
But hey, I'm going to have to, I hate to say it. I know you love it, but we're going to have to take out the first 3 seasons of Clone Wars.
Right? I know.
Something like that. I'm going to contradict a bunch of stuff.
Oh my gosh, Nihilist, $10 super chat.
Thank you.
Legend. Never get to catch you guys live, but always get hours of entertainment from y'all. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
Appreciate that. That's again, I know that we've had, this has probably been a polarizing episode. I have no idea. We've been everywhere.
We have been everywhere.
Yeah, so that's why I'm happy that for everybody in the chat that's sticking around.
Everybody in here I see is saying Mon has 2 speeches. I thought that too, but I rewatched it. She doesn't. In the beginning of that episode, Secret Cargo, she does have the speech supposedly from the Senate floor. Because the HoloNet guy's like, here's Mon Mothma and what she just, and her denouncement of Emperor Palpatine. And then that speech it's similar, but it's completely different. She does have another speech at the end of the episode, and that's her broadcast. That's different. That's a completely different story. And let's even look to the quote from the creator, who also just said, I mean, and this is what I don't like right here. "We are hijacking canon," Gilroy told Entertainment Weekly. In canon, she's rescued by the Gold Squadron, and the speech that they gave in the cartoon, which was a canonical show, is on that ship. And Andor writer Dan Gilroy is like, "Do I have to stick to this effing speech?" In a really sneaky way, we're minimizing what they did in Star Wars Rebels, but we're keeping it consistent. We're just saying you don't know the whole story of what happened. And I get that there's a world out there where it's like maybe Mon has 3 speeches.
Yeah.
It's the one in Andor. She gives some other speech in between getting picked up by Gold Squadron.
Campfire stories.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then she has the one on the ship. And Sergio, okay, because I just saw this. I've seen people say this too, where it's like, maybe that's the speech the Empire wanted you to see. That speech is even more damning of Emperor Palpatine, the one that she gives.
Hey, careful with that.
What? It's a word.
Language.
It's fine. Get out of here,
Language.
Captain America. My goodness. So that's what I'm saying. And it's like, there's a part of me that's like, I like what you did because of the writing's great and that's good, but there does need to be some reverence to canon or the whole thing. Like,
Because then what's the point? Because then we're just going, like, talk about a castle made of sand rather than stone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And objective truth in the Star Wars canon is there no objective. It's like depends on who's telling the story.
Yes.
And there is something to what Sam Witwer says. Yes, absolutely.
And again,
there's
I gave
something
a
to
good
that.
example. Siege of Mandalore, the Ahsoka book.
Right.
Mostly the same stuff. A couple key changes, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just
like, again, it's like,
I just don't know where they draw the line.
Yeah, I was about to say, where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
If it's just like, oh man, we got Scorsese wants to make a Star Wars film, but guess what? I know you like it, but Palpatine came back again. It's like, like something like that.
Sure,
or
yeah.
It's just,
Huge thank you, 300 $4.99 super chat. I have, dang it always happens. I have no issue with retcons when the new content is written better. I love Rebels, but its target audience was much different than Andor's. Yes, but at the same time, like Seth's saying, it's a slippery slope.
And then too, that like, it's also where you come in life. Rebels is important for, yes, Rebels is for a younger audience. They need to see that stuff too.
Yeah.
So, but if you wipe it from canon or change it, then there'd be no point for people like future generations to show their kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Again, but I think we're missing the point a little bit where it's like Seth's saying it's a slippery slope. We hope in this case, yeah, I think it's a little better written than the one that's in Rebels.
It's true.
What if that's not always the case?
It's true. What
You know
if a
what I
guy
mean?
comes along and says he's got $1 billion idea and it's not?
Yeah, that's just
it's just not.
that's exactly what I'm saying.
Chicken
It's like
jockey.
they're get out of here. And I agree that the whole Gold Squadron thing was a good faith compromise sort of,
Yes.
and I loved that.
Yeah.
I thought that her part of the speech, because you only get a moment of it in Rebels.
Yeah.
Why not just get
Use
that in there?
part,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like, I just don't see the reason to wipe that out to say like, nah, I could do it better.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. That's getting into some wacky stuff here.
Some dark side stuff.
Yeah, it's like, no, I
Yes.
could do that. Yeah, your speech sucked, guy who wrote Rebels.
Yeah.
I could do better than that. It's like, again, I get different audience and everything, but I just don't think that that's fair. I think that was there. We didn't need to retcon it. That's all I'm saying. And even this comment here makes me mad. Like, do I have to stick to this effing speech? I don't know the tone in which that, I mean, it's text. So, you know, you're,
You make your own implications on it.
and maybe that's what we need to do, Reese's. We just need to have the 3 speech compromise here, where I just don't know when she does that second speech.
Yeah.
She gets to the safe house so that she does something else, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like here, perfect example of a retcon that's fine. Her hair's not the same. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a costume difference. It's a production difference.
Yeah.
But it's not a writing choice. You know what I mean? Like, that is, once we cross over into that territory, I think you're being disrespectful to what came before it. Mm-hmm. And that does frustrate me.
Yeah.
Again, I kind of make the compromise for comics. It's like, okay, you know,
Yeah.
sorry, I know you love comics.
No,
but
it's
like- but
okay.
it's like-
I think that you should respect the medium. And then when you come in to an already established universe, you shouldn't just be throwing things aside because it's like, I can just do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Because I can write it better.
Exactly.
I just think that it's like that. It's just dangerous thinking.
Exactly. And it's like, and cool, in this case, you may be right.
Yeah.
Maybe you did do a better job.
Maybe you did. But again, what if the next guy or gal comes in and it isn't better?
Yep.
And you just ruin something.
I agree.
Yeah.
Have we really been going for over 2 hours? How about that?
Who said that? People liking it? Or
they just said Jason Barber. So where's Jason at? Go back to this. Rebels is more important to me considering I haven't watched that and not Andor. Yeah, thanks for sticking around since we've been talking about the. Hey, we've been talking about a lot though.
Yeah.
This has been the BDTS Variety Hour today.
This has been kind of crazy.
Where you guys, oh my gosh, you guys.
What's happening?
Have a funny $5, buddies. It's from our addict dragon friend again. I hope you get better soon, buddy. But no, thank you for real for the $5. Appreciate that. It's Dragon on Coke here.
Oh
yeah,
I didn't even. Okay,
didn't see the name.
I didn't.
And
well, thank you.
The 1999 from Bill Rooklyn. Really appreciate you. Back to religion. There are 4 gospels. Do we get caught up in which one is true or which communicates a deeper interpretation of events?
There aren't retcons with the gospel. That nothing contradicts itself.
That's true. Nothing contradicts itself. And now you get different perspectives. Some focus more on, like I've heard it said, because like there's one that focuses on the character of Jesus, one that focuses more on the history and so on and so forth.
And then like John's, like he's there for a lot of the events, so he brings himself into it. Yeah. But
just as a point of clarification, there are no retcons or even contradictions.
Yeah.
If you really start to look like going deep into those texts.
Yeah.
I don't even know any surface level ones. The ones that might be.
I mean, maybe you like were the angels sitting when the stones rolled back.
Oh yeah, that could be sure.
Yeah,
but I mean, I don't know ones that are typically referenced as like, hey, but this is a retcon like that. Is it though?
Yeah,
I don't think it is. But yeah, that is an interesting thing to look into, though. By the way, just as a matter of curiosity, if you will. Obviously, as a person of faith, I find it deeply interesting. But even if you're just interested in history, my goodness, the history of like biblical events and how they tie to actual history, and like the more archaeological discoveries we make, the more it confirms the events in biblical history. It's very interesting.
More evidence that Jesus existed than Caesar.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Alexander the Great.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Ton. One of them. Sorry. Another tangent. You guys said 2 hour. It's the variety show. I saw in person. There's a stone in what was that place called? It's a coastal city. Forgive me, I don't remember. There was an amphitheater, basically, and it was. They recycled a lot of the stones because you did that a lot back in ancient times. Yeah. And one of them that was recently discovered from this, they flipped it over and there was a bunch of text and it mentions Pontius Pilate by name. And it was the first archaeological discovery that, other than the Bible itself,
that this guy existed.
That Pontius Pilate existed. And so that's huge because, I mean, it's just more confirmation, right, about the story.
Yeah.
And it was just something, it wasn't about what happened in biblically. It was just about him.
He existed.
Yeah, and that's important. Yeah. It's like the Dead Sea Scrolls are another fun thing. It's like, it's not even, they didn't really tell us anything new. It just confirmed what we already knew. It's like that this stuff was never altered. Like the ancient texts were 99% accurate to the current translations that we have today. And that is, I mean, gosh, if that doesn't make you believe in a higher power, I don't know what will, because the human element coming in there, and that much human element. And what does it say? It's, there's a funny quote here. It's, the fact that the church has withstood 2,000 years of human, of human imperfection is testament alone to a higher power that it could have survived 2,000 years. Right. Anyway, there you go. There's the other tangent for you. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, you guys are going crazy with the super chats. Love you guys. Even Seth's objectively wrong takes. That's how I feel too, man. That's how I feel too. I'm glad. I don't know what I did. Gosh, I mean, I just watched the movies. So my bad. Hey, it's all right. It's all right. That was, again, that's my burner account in there. I just gave myself $10 to it. There we go. All right, guys. Wow, we haven't even done the community spotlight. I'm like, what do we have left here of the show? We're already 2 hours in, but you know what? I think it's time to hear more from the homies at home in the community spotlight. Take it away.
You must feel the force around you.
You guys know the drill. Every week I like to post a little prompt on Instagram. It's more difficult to do on YouTube. Give me a break, all right? About the topic of the week. It's been all about Andor, so we asked you guys, what's your take, your thoughts, your questions, your concerns about Andor. And here, look at you. Look at this. Seth always catching strays. But Johnny G says, no, Seth's been great this week. See, Johnny's on your side.
It's good.
There you go.
It's good.
Right.
Don't at me, fight me.
Don't have me fight me. Okay, but this is the time of the show. If we haven't gotten to your question, you have a question for us about Andor or really anything. We've been talking about a bunch of nonsense today. What's going on back
Return
there?
of the Jedi is almost over. We've been talking that long.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is.
But go ahead and throw something in the chat if you got something for us. We're also
Appreciate
going to
everybody hanging out with us tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys have been a lot of fun. First one here from Marcus.Katie. This show deserves all the awards. Cassian, Mon, Dedra, and Sirill were played incredibly. Dude, performances were great. I do hope the show wins a lot of awards. It's been excellent.
Yes. It was real well done.
From Legolas. Hey, it's our friend Legolas. It appears that Andor did not retcon Star Wars Season 3 or Rebels Season 3. I don't know. We just talked about that. I guess that's up in the air. Some people don't think it did. Some people did.
Hashtag 3 speeches.
Hey, another $10 for Seth. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's kind.
There you go. See, doesn't that make you feel better?
A little bit better. I mean, but I don't want to be farming money. But it's like,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
that is very kind of you.
Threnody, am I saying that right? Threnody?
See, it's hard to read sometimes.
It is a little, they're a little farther away today.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we've got from KatieSource.rex. I tried to read this all at once. I think Star Wars content is best when it's not just fan service, which Andor is very restrained with. That being said, what's the fan service we would have liked to see from Andor? While you're thinking, I got to get on my soapbox again for just a moment. Just a moment. I'm sorry.
You love that box.
I do. I stand on it all. That's why I'm taller than Seth, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Because I'm just on this all the time. Fan service is a word that irritates me sometimes. I think it's so lost. Like the meaning is gone.
Yeah.
I always reference this. I don't have opinions on this creator one way or the other. I've actually never even seen one of his videos, but it reminds me whenever I hear this about fan service, so Star Wars just stays over here. It's a video from Mauler that I saw after Ahsoka. It was just a screenshot of Anakin in the World Between Worlds, and it said, Star Wars can never grow up. I think that was the title. And I'm like, Anakin is the main character of Star Wars. Why is it a problem? It always makes me think of like someone like that reading a Spider-Man comic. He's like, Spider-Man's in this? Spider-Man just can't grow up. As it just, it can't. I'm like, what do you mean?
He can't, literally. That's a terrible example.
I'm not the character. I meant the Spider-Man comics just can't grow up. They just keep having Spider-Man in here.
I get you.
And it's like, don't get me wrong, there are moments of like cameos that irritate me.
Yeah.
Like I think the dude, Ponda Baba and Dr. Evazan in Rogue One, it's kind of dumb.
It's super dumb.
Right?
Yeah.
Not a fan of that at all. But Anakin showing up in Ahsoka is not fan service. He's a character in her life.
I was about to say it definitely helps her grow. It's not just like, hey, he doesn't like you. I don't like you either. Yeah. Then they go literally to go have a fight and
So
stupid.
that just the concept irritates me because like I don't think maybe Luke showing up at the end of Mando season 2 is fan service, but again, at that point in the show, it makes sense he would show up.
It served the purpose of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, great. I love this. Key jangling versus fan service. Yes. Also, thank you for becoming a Padawan, Jordan Funk. I really appreciate you. And my goodness, you guys are on fire today. What is going on? You guys, you don't have to do this.
You don't have to.
We're here for free.
Yes.
My fan service would have been Agent Callus. That would have been cool. But yes, from Ketzel, key jangling versus fan service. That's absolutely correct. There is a ton of key jangling. I'll be honest, I'm a little worried about Avengers Doomsday. I think that looks like it's going to be a lot of key jangling. It's all
key jangling. That's it. Nothing else.
I'm concerned about it.
Yeah.
But to answer Kate's question, because I do think it's fun, just to the colloquial sort of term of fan service, what would I like to see? I don't know if it counts as fan service, but I would have loved to see Emperor Palpatine. I would have loved to see him as Emperor, not Darth Sidious. I've said this a few times now, but just the politician.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see that.
Yeah. We talked about that.
Yeah.
I would love to see him at a dinner party.
Yeah.
At a dinner party, did you make these?
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah. Or even seeing Hera at the end of this arc would have been not too much, I think.
Yeah. I was going to say at least like seeing it set up more where it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
So it fits more into the canon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I agree with Kate here. Actually, it would have been great for them to reference Padme. Yeah. Yeah. Yoda at the end of the Acolyte. That's interesting. Is that fan service? I don't think so. I mean,
it was like, he's the top. She had to go to the top.
Yeah. So I wouldn't call that key. I think where it's at feels like key jangling.
Yeah.
It feels really weird that that's the stinger of that show.
Yeah.
Especially when there was
Plagueis?
Well, you remember the interview after that came out of that? It was like, well, we didn't want to put Plagueis at the end because we didn't want to like just put that for shock value and like that we're setting something up. It's like, then why did you do that with Yoda? You guys are so inconsistent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Kenobi being the only show that acknowledges Padme's existence. Hey, you know what? That's right. Shout out to Kenobi. Fair point.
At least they did something right.
Plagueis felt key jangly-ish. I don't think so. Especially if they were going to go somewhere with the show.
Talk about someone being like, hey, where you guys going?
Stop it.
Hey, can I come too?
Again, for the 6 people that watched our coverage on Plagueis, they'll get that joke.
I love it.
Interesting to think about the black and white moral definitions in the OT being more like the grand level spiritual warfare happening over more Andor, happening over the more Andor experience of those of us here on Earth. Yeah, right. And interesting. I mean, that's what, again, we said it a million times, but you need both. You need the black and white to become gray.
Yeah.
Wow, that's good. That's kind of like poetry, isn't it? It's like that's literally true and it's figuratively true.
Yeah, you got to mix a little to become gray.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah. Oh my gosh, thank you so much again from Threnody. Figured we wouldn't get Palps, but maybe no Masameda. I was surprised that we didn't get Masameda.
Sly more.
Something.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I do agree. I wish that, even saying that,
It would have been cool to have Masamada in the Senate rather than that one rando guy.
I agree with you, Padawan Pops. This is a great point where Rise of Skywalker is the most fan servicey thing that Star Wars has done, because it was literally like, okay, how can we make the fans happy? You know, and that's the wrong way to do it. Yeah. I think if that's your decision-making process, you've done it wrong. But if the result is you made the fans happy, it's like causation does not equal correlation. However, correlation was causation with the Rise of Skywalker. I think that's a great point.
I mean, the John Williams music usage.
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
like a key example of that.
It's insane.
Yeah.
All right, back to the questions here. Jay Williamson, 94. Pacing, tension building done perfectly. Hoping to get more Krennic, maybe even see Jeddah. Yeah, dude, we got to get more Krennic by the end of this.
Yes.
Got to.
No, I mean, I think that it's going to set up everybody
for Rogue One.
Yeah.
It's going to get the chess pieces going.
I assume that he's going to be like, I have to go see Galen Erso.
Somehow Palpatine didn't return. I love that. Yeah, you know what? You're right. Instead of going to Space 7-Eleven last week, we needed to go to Dexter Jetster's.
How
Diner.
Awesome would that have been?
That would have been sick, actually. I would have loved
Cassian.
that. They would have
Cassian, what do you know?
Cassian Andor, what do you know?
What do you know? I guess
they would have made it sad, though.
Why? Because he would have just been depressed or something. Like he's down on his luck.
Or dead. Flo would have been there, and she would have been reprogrammed or something.
Exactly. I just like, too, the idea of just like, that depends, Cassian. How big's your pocketbook?
Jacob's asking a good question. Also wanted to ask, how do you think Luthen ends in a blaze of glory? Yes. I think he might go out actually in disgrace. Yeah. I'm almost wondering that.
I wonder if he'll get thrown. Well, I wonder if he'll somehow get thrown into the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say this. I think, this reminded me, Mechanized. How many people survive these next 3 episodes? I think Bix does. Wouldn't have said that before this week, but I think that's the more heartbreaking conclusion to her story now, is that now she lives on past Cassian.
Yeah.
In fact, I think we might even get a time jump at the end of the final episode. Yeah. I would love that. I don't think that's out of the ballpark. Padawan Pops, Cassian, the one to do it.
Yeah.
All right. Next one up here. Amana, this is storytelling at its finest. I've enjoyed every second, and I ship Dedra and Sirill. Well, I'm not sure they even ship each other, but when it comes to the end of it, so that kind of...
I was about to say, they dance with the lights off.
It's true.
Yeah.
And now one of them's lights are permanently off, so that kind of sucks. Yabo Fitzy, are we going to see the Ghost Crew deliver Mon to Yavin? No, I think that them referencing it was more than I thought we'd get.
Yes, it's true. And I feel like that it pained them to do so.
Yep.
At least with your comments, that's how I feel.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. That's kind of how I feel too. Yeah. A Vogel podcast, Andor season 2 is the best Star Wars had in a while. Yeah, I've definitely as a full package. I think that it's the best produced for sure. Not my favorite. I think next week will be the big talk about.
We'll see where it leaves us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From The Stranger 1977, Marva's funeral music playing during Mon's condemnation of Palpatine didn't have the emoji available, but Heap said this. So, I didn't catch that. I thought that is really great. Question from Albo, or a comment rather. I feel like Disney are too afraid to use their legacy characters. They have Luke Skywalker, but barely use him. I know. That's what I'm saying about this whole Bail Organa thing. I'm hoping that this is the soft blow we needed to just accept. If we're going to get more Luke Skywalker stories, he's going to have to be recast. It's just going to, and I think that I've heard rumor that he might be in Mandalorian and Grogu. And I think that makes sense as a sort of way to test it. Yeah. Test the waters. Cause unfortunately that's Disney puppeteering the movie. And so they need to figure out what's going to work and what's not. Work and what's not. If they recast Luke, I know some people are against that, but please, for my sake, just like it. Let Disney know that you like it so I can see more Luke Skywalker. Not CGI Skinwalker. Oof. I thought he was great in Book of Boba Fett, but long term, it just can't be the solution. Yeah. I just heard Return of the Jedi's over, guys.
Stopped.
There it is. It's rewind. Hey, it's going to restart, though. You hear it? There it goes. Well, you've never heard of VHS rewind, Seth? Why are you grimacing?
Okay. Is it okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Okay. I just peek behind the curtain. This thing eats tape sometimes, so it sounded like it was eating the tape.
Yeah.
So that's the...
just you grimacing cracked me up.
I know, it's scary.
Come on, that's the sound of your childhood.
I don't want to hear the tape getting destroyed.
It's just getting rewound.
I like that tape.
I have two. It's okay.
Still.
Just read that one. We'll go to... man, I read that one too. Oh my goodness.
You're going down. I think you need to be going up.
No, I need to go down. Cirque 7. Pure poetry. All ranges of emotions. Putting Andor tippy top for live action shows. Agreed. Maybe. In terms of production. Real Ramblin', don't care in the slightest about Andor. I'm just here for you guys. Keep up what you do best, BDTS. Oh my gosh.
Hey, thank you. That's very kind.
You stop that. You should give Andor a shot. You might like it. Or maybe you have and you don't like it, and that's okay too. Pro Jason Wingard, episode 8 is a really strong choice for best TV episode in all of Star Wars. I don't disagree with that. I think it's in the running for me personally.
I don't know, man. Mando season 2, episode 1.
That's a good one too.
The Marshal.
It's a good one too. I agree.
Stuff. Yeah.
Can we get the Filoni cut of Andor? Need more key jangling. Stop it. Filoni doesn't do. I am a Filoni defender when it comes to this. He does not key jangle. At least I've not seen evidence of it yet. Give me an example in the chat. You know, I'm going to call you out. Give me an example. I don't think he does. I think that he's the truest continuation of if George was still making Star Wars.
He's trying to be George.
Almost to a fault. Like, I wish that he had more of his own voice sometimes. Yeah. Like, he's almost to a fault. We need a good lookalike for Harrison. Dude, I think Alden Ehrenreich's great.
If only Alden Ehrenreich. That's crazy. Anyway.
Depends on which movie, Daniel B. I think that timeline is really played up in the comics. And if it was about someone not our legacy characters, I could be into it. Mm-hmm. Have you guys talked about the return of Akbar for Ahsoka season 2? I did in my celebration coverage. I think it's really fun. The fact that Filoni said him and Thrawn are going to go head to head. It's going to be great.
Yeah. It's a trap.
It's great. If anyone is interested in a great Stellan Skarsgård movie, I'm recommending this. I don't know how to say that. It's too far away. Yeah, watch that, I think. Because it's great.
He has bootstrap.
And, Minifig Center. I'm very interested to see what they'll do with episodes 10 through 12. This felt like a finale. It did feel like a finale.
It's true. I think, again, the next 3 will be set up for
Rogue One.
Yeah, for our characters to get placed for Rogue One.
Well, I also feel like K2SO is the palate cleanser for Cassian. Yeah. It's what pulls him to because I'm curious how that's going to work, because that's so tonally dissonant from what everything else in Andor works in Rogue One. But it's like, how do you make K2SO work with what you're doing in Andor? I'm really curious.
And maybe it'll still be the beginnings of how he is in Andor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cassian has to teach him how to love. Yeah.
Okay.
Teach him a little humanity.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Owen Anderson 4, eating a meal, a succulent Chinese meal. Guys, you guys made me so proud last week with how many of you were sipping my Kool-Aid on that. Made me really happy. Appreciate y'all. You see the video.
I had no idea that existed. Didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next up from Pro Jason Weird. Already read that one. So that is going to wrap up our pre-selected questions. So that brings us down to the end of the show. A long show today. I hope you guys have been having fun. I've certainly been having fun.
I hope so.
We've talked about a lot today. History, philosophy,
science,
conspiracy theories, faith, Star
Yes.
Wars, man.
Yes.
You really got, like I said, this is the BDTS variety hour. That's good. But you know what? That's cool. I think that it all really tied to Andor too.
It's true.
Which is really, that's neat.
Well, it just shows that like Star Wars is layered.
Yeah.
That it's not just, explosions in space. That like
right.
there is some we can have deeper conversations about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Star Wars, K2SO being Star Wars DNA. I don't care about that, Seth.
Hold on a sec. Hold on. I do want to say one last thing.
Okay. You got the floor.
I can't believe that K2 and B2 are not the same
I was
thing.
waiting for that. Okay. Yeah, I agree.
So that is such a slow pitch. Are you mean to tell me that B2's just gone? They just left him. So important to the first season. And then they just left him.
It's great. I agree with this.
Go back.
I agree with this. Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
They just left B2. Thank you.
Maybe we'll
put
see
that up on the screen. It's true. They just left him.
Maybe we'll get something in the final arc.
What's
I'm not
the
gonna write it
point?
off.
He's got K2 now. B2, cross him out. We got K2.
We'll see.
So stupid.
I think it's dumb too, but I gotta wait.
So dumb.
You never know. They might make it work.
I doubt it. Or maybe somehow they do put but they already talked about that. Like
Maybe he's too much of a murder droid right now, and they need to combine his personality matrix.
They already did that thing.
Yeah, the impulse control. I know, but
Yes.
maybe he needs more. Maybe he needs more humanity.
Maybe that would be cool. I'm hoping. I'm pulling for it because I feel like it's just too easy of a thing to do to just not do it. It makes too much sense.
Yeah.
Whatever. Maybe I don't know. You could put up a poll. Maybe I could be wrong about that too.
No, stop it. No. By the way, I need to end this poll. Forgot to do that. No, you're 100% right. I'm with you, and it seems like everybody else is with you on this too.
Yeah.
I do think the only way that I'd be happy with it is what Lego Master says. If he's with Bix, and that's kind of the
Why is he on Yavin?
well, why he's not part of the rebellion. I just think what way to continue like Cassian's family.
Yeah.
Like after Cassian is gone, and now B2 gets to ride with Bix. Maybe she's pregnant. Maybe she has a kiddo. Maybe that happens. Or I like this. They lay Cassian's brick. What a way to end it. That would be a great way to end the show. I'm not going to lie. They lay his brick with both B2 and Bix. And maybe Cassian's maybe or maybe not kid. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Maybe Gilroy was making you think that. Being like, yeah, you think this is going to be K2, but we got better plans, Seth. He was talking to you specifically.
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. There has to be something, though, where it's going to feel real weird.
It does, because it's like he was important up until we just haven't talked about him for the last 2 years.
Sorry, I'm just reading some of the chat here.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
So this is answering my question about Keyjang. Like, Filoni still has PTSD from Clone Wars being canceled and has to interconnect every character to make sure it gets in somewhere. Not always bad, but as close to Keyjangly as he gets. I don't disagree with that per se. I think that what Filoni does, I'll say it like this: everything he does, I think, makes sense and I don't have an issue with anything that he's done. I do think that just from a storytelling perspective, I get irritated. Like, okay, I've seen Ahsoka so much. I love Ahsoka. I love her show.
Well,
But it's
I'm
she's
afraid
everywhere.
of Maul getting like that.
Me too. I'm afraid of Maul getting overdone. I'm looking forward to that show, but I'm like,
it might.
Yeah, a lot of Maul
might be too much.
Yep.
He's like icing. You eat a cake of icing, you get sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
You need some cake.
I agree.
To go with your icing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I almost made a really bad joke, and I'm glad I didn't. But now I said it, you guys are going to be wondering. And you know what? I'm not going to say it this time, so I'm just going to read this comment.
You know what?
Do you think Bix is
happy you
pregnant?
broke your elbow.
Do you think Bix is pregnant? I think
Where'd
I know
that
there are
come
fan
from?
theories.
I don't
just because it makes sense.
Would just be more sad.
Yeah, because it would be more sad.
Let's just layer on more of the sadness, because we know he's going to his death.
It's possible. It was Better Call Saul joke, probably. No, it was an inappropriate joke, and that's why I didn't say it. Thank you. This show is a family show. Kate,
True.
you're always talking about Avatar. I don't want to hear it. You're always like, you've got an Avatar reference.
You should watch Avatar.
I'm not saying I shouldn't watch Avatar. I'm just saying, don't throw stones. Kate is what I'm getting at. Oh my goodness. All right, guys, we've yabbered on for a long time about a lot of different stuff. Thank you guys so much for being here, for being a part of the show. This was a lot of fun. It's just all the different stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sad that we're not that next week's it.
We got plans for the future.
Oh, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something the week after, which is you guys know what's the week after Andor? Little Star Wars history for you. I don't know. Maybe something.
Yeah.
So hold on. This is I'm being 100% serious. 100% serious. When we finish The Sopranos, should we watch Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul first? Oh, like if you're watching, you got to start with Breaking Bad, because even though Better Call Saul is a prequel, it builds off of Breaking Bad in every way. So yeah, watch Breaking Bad first. And I will say this about Breaking Bad. The first season is way different than the other seasons. And it's because they didn't have a lot of oversight from the studio. So there's the first episode has some nudity in it. It's the only time in the whole show it has nudity. It's like, there are some people I've talked to who are like, yeah, I don't want that. And I don't want to watch that. Like they were like, it's very vulgar. It's very graphic in the first few episodes. And I've heard a lot of people turned it off because of that. I'm like, okay, it's the only time. It's the only time. So watch Lex. I don't know what that is, but I'll look into it. But save the last 3 episodes of okay. Watch Better Call Saul first, but save the last 3 episodes. That's definitely a viewing order you could go with.
Machete cut for the Better Call Saul universe.
I mean, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but that does make sense. So okay, gosh, dang it. Better Call Saul does something interesting. It is a prequel, but the beginning of every season opens up with a little cold open about where Saul is post Breaking Bad. And so every season you're like, we want to know a little more about that story. And I guess this isn't really a spoiler. I mean, everybody, if you
what if I started with El Camino?
Don't do that. El Camino's okay, but it's like the worst of all 3. It's not bad. It's just, it's whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, the last 3 episodes of Better Call Saul are completely in that timeline. Oh. And so it is post Breaking Bad.
Gotcha.
So that's why it's like, but the last I don't even want to say anything. I don't want to say anything because I don't want to spoil it. It's so good. I love this, by the way. You guys need to create Beyond the Galilee Sea show. I'd watch. Hey, don't tempt me with a good time.
I've never seen it.
What?
Oh, Galilee Sea. I thought that was I'm sorry. I thought it was my bad. I thought that was a Breaking Bad reference or something like that. And then okay. Gotcha.
That was great.
Okay. I've only seen a couple episodes of Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stick to it. I don't know. As much as you don't like the darkness in Andor, it gets way darker in Breaking Bad, just on a personal human level.
I can't wait for that. Like, you're telling me to watch this.
No, you probably shouldn't. I don't think you'd like it.
I gotcha.
There you go, guys. Fun show. Thank you guys so much for being here. We'll see you next week. Not the same Dune time. It'll be Thursday next week, because ICC Con is next weekend, and I'll be going to that. Seth is going to hold down the fort for me.
Yes.
But I will be there. So if you're going to ICCC, I would love to chat with you, say hi to you if you're going to be there. But next Thursday will be our last Andor episode. So I've seen a lot of people, got a lot of stuff. You want the 4 nations. Hey guys, I just came across the channel a few weeks ago and binged y'all's book clubs. Love the channel and y'all's discussion. Sending love from Texas. Also, El Camino rocks. How dare you, sir? No, it's great. It's definitely the worst of the 3, though. One of them has to be in last place. That's all. But I do like it. I wasn't saying I didn't like it, but appreciate you so much for that. And hey, if you like the TFTA streams, we already said we're going to do a Revenge of the Sith novel coming soon. We will be
just
doing
finished it.
Coming in the coming weeks. So if you guys want more with the boys, with the TFTA crew, that's the next one on the docket. So, okay, this has been the Return of the King ending where we've done like 5 different outros, but it's really time. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next Thursday for the final arc of Andor. Have a good week. Have a good weekend. We'll see you next time.